agree with Alana. I think it's a big fu to say, well, if you guys were searching, then I mean, because there was so many people that went out and searched. That's a slap in the
Yes.
face to all of them. Even Crabtree, it comes to mind, someone that I don't agree with, but he searched his butt off for Sebastian, in my opinion. So it's like a slap in the face to all of everybody that searched,
Right. Now,
in my opinion.
I didn't see the finger. I saw hands go up
Mhm.
in the air like, "Oh well,
Yeah,
who
I saw
cares?
that
What do
too.
you want me to do?" Something like that. And that was
Mhm.
disrespectful enough. I don't feel
I
like
agree.
a professional in the position that he's in should have made himself look like that in front of everybody. He shouldn't have even thought to act like that, but let alone to let us all see what his attitude really is.
Right, and when the news was there, like, that also blew my mind, like, how blatant, like, it's like they don't care, or they want that shown. They're not embarrassed of it. To the contrary, they want it. I mean, if the news was gonna run it, that's a big risk, taking that risk of, touching the sign, whatever he did, hit it or tried to
He
rip it
flicked the
down, whatever.
sign. I
He
forgot
what?
that. He flicked the sign like it was up
Mhm.
on the pole and he could whacked it with his hand.
Right. Do you know whose sign that was by any chance? Because I was
It was a
wondering whose
green
sign.
sign, I believe.
It was a bright green sign, but see, I had the same color. It wasn't one of mine because I didn't hang mine, but I think it might have said something like "honk for Sebastian," or like, I didn't see any derogatory signs. I don't know if you all did, but I certainly didn't. Everything was pretty positive. Calling for justice, honk for Sebastian, clear Seth was one of my signs. And I said justice delayed is justice denied. So, you know, I don't I don't see why
I
they would be against it.
I hung a sign across the street, straight across, and I
Mhm.
don't know if that's the one she's speaking of or not. And I don't remember
No,
Yeah.
what
it
it
was the
said, but I'm sure
pole
it's on
closest.
footage somewhere.
It was
Let
the
me show
corner
you
that we were
guys.
standing on.
Yes, because I uploaded that one, and it's really like you could see from the street view, and I'll play it for, or I'll bring it up. Um, Sorry, you might give me 1 second. You guys can talk. My doggy's barking.
And I think the whole week has brought up so many emotions for me, and I'm sure everyone else in Sebastian's army. We stand here. Um, 2 years is too long, and we stand here with no questions. All we know is Sebastian never left the house. So is he still inside the house?
That is a really good question, and I feel like more needs to be done to explore that possibility.
Oh, I absolutely agree. So this is the big view that Betty caught on her camera. So she's just got one set up, kind of pointing that direction. And this is the sign that they
That
ended
was
up
hit.
that was hit. Yeah. Yeah. Right
There was
there.
no need to touch it.
I know. I don't understand why he did. Like, and I didn't notice it until, you know, um, I mean, I didn't even notice it the first time I zoomed in because, it does get very blurry. But I was surprised to see him do that. Like, and then one of my viewers was like, "Oh my gosh, did you see him hit the sign? I think he hit it." And I'm like, "I saw it today, just now." Oddly enough.
And it was definitely premeditated because his arm is up before he even gets over there.
Oh yeah, he had planned on doing that, and that was the second time that they came around. So the first time that they came around, is gonna be, let's see, I just posted this one. here.
And that was to agitate us. Like they wanted to see what we were going to do.
Totally. Totally. And, I'm over here. Here's our friend KJ. We're talking,
Hey,
just kind of on live, you know? And this is about when they come over the first time, I believe. Okay, this is one. Because you can see them set across the street here. I'll make it bigger there. So you can see them across.
And that's me right there. That's
Yeah,
me
you're right
there.
there.
That's when I go across. I think it cuts out then. I walk right across that.
Yeah, see, and I went over to Seth and was, kind of panning over to Seth because he took the mic and I didn't even realize he was addressing these guys, that were gonna come across.
I didn't even realize he was behind me because I was literally right there. I hadn't realized he took the mic.
Right. And see, there you are, and you're like, hey, and then he's talking, and here's Betty giving cake out still. I mean, we still didn't even give out the cake yet. And they're still down there, and they had said something to Jen as well, too.
Is that Jen in the white and black there, like in the middle?
No, she was wearing the like cardigan. Here she comes.
She was wearing the
holding her.
sweater. So when I was there and I went across, that woman in white and black, a white shirt and black pants said, "Don't go
Mhm.
across. You're going to get arrested." Whoever she is, I think she said she's a local from Gallatin. But
Oh,
that's how high
okay.
the tension was at that point.
I know who she is. I don't know if I can say it on here.
I wouldn't.
Yeah, I
But
wouldn't.
I just.
I
Okay.
think I know too. I just don't want to say.
Eh,
Because, well,
Pro,
you just never know what
Right.
people. Well, because they're so passionate, and I understand because I'm passionate too for my own reasons, and so, um, but I also don't understand like having hatred because I don't have hatred for other people. Um, not even these officers. It just disappoints me more than anything. But please feel free to share how you guys feel.
I don't
I
hate
don't
the
know why they
officers.
went walking between us.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if they wanted to stop and say hello, or if they wanted to, uh, give a statement or something, that would have been different. But it was just like they were just trying to instigate something or hope that one of us wanted to.
Yeah, because we hadn't been vocal toward any officers. I mean, I said hello to them. If they walked past me, I would say hello. I got a lot of dirty looks and just ignored, but I
Mm.
expected that part. Like I wasn't appalled by that. I was like, okay, well, that's par for the course.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that they were intentionally trying to provoke us, like Angels Listening says. I mean, yes, I believe that. I believe they were intentionally provoking. I don't know if it was something that they were told, because I think they were probably told to ignore us. But I don't know. I just think that officer couldn't help himself.
Maybe he just wanted to be on the camera or something. I don't know, but his little power trip has got everybody talking. And apparently, people are trying to find out who he is and get something done about the way he acted out there.
There is cameras on the corner of the sheriff's building right there. I guarantee you that camera caught everything. Me going across, Seth losing it and speaking up to them. them hitting the sign.
Right. I think they do too. I think they probably have better footage than even any of us had, especially because I was on live when this happened. So I mean, I was working with a smaller frame of a camera. This video I just uploaded, I zoomed in on everything, and that sort of thing. Um, Hello, Book of E. Good to see you. Welcome in, guys. So yeah,
I don't
and
think
and
they
then
would.
have you searched before, Alana? Because I know you said that you've gone to a lot of the events and stuff too, but have you searched?
Yeah, in the early days, not for a while now.
I think it's harder and harder to find places to search.
That's it. Like, that's why I was asking, give us a map, give us a grid. We'll search. We're ready. We'll go out after this. Where do you search? Tennessee, if you don't live here, the brush, it's very dense and it's a rugged
Mm.
terrain and it's hard to search. So give us a grid. 5 miles, 10 miles outside of what? Give us an area, northeast, west. That is my problem. Where do you go from here, without a real timeline from the sheriff's office, or even, an update? How do we continue to search? And that was one of the reasons why I stopped. I felt like, not that I wanted to, I felt like it was pointless because we don't have enough information to search. No, Sebastian did not run out of his house barefoot. I don't care what Katie and Chris say. I was just bit by a fire ant last summer. It hurts
Ooh.
bad, and I'll wear gloves gardening from now on. But and with Sebastian having autism, that would be sensory overload to his feet. So that boy did not run out of the house with no shoes. And then you have Craddock saying there's no evidence he ever left the house. He didn't go out a window because Christopher Proudfoot said it was obvious he couldn't go out his bedroom window. So what happened? He didn't just vanish and go poof. I struggle with this all the time,
And
Yeah,
he
I
said
do
that
as
they would have
well.
heard it if he would have gone out the window too.
Yeah, he said there was bushes or mulch. He would have heard Sebastian going out. There would have been a crunch noise or something like that.
Yeah, he said we all would have heard him, and he would have screamed and woke everybody up, and I mean, who's everybody? I think that's one I struggle with too. Detroit says, "What about the cameras across the street? Has anyone inquired about the footage?" I have not.
I have not.
No, and I'm wondering if maybe because I know Crime Time Buzz was putting in a complaint, so I don't know, she might have.
I can
Um
go back up. It's about an hour and 15 minutes for me, and I can see what other cameras are there, but I don't know that we'll get real footage.
I don't either. I mean, if there's a suspected corruption there that most people know about, then they're probably not going to want to get involved.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest problem that we have is that people want justice, but they don't know how to get involved. They don't know how to get involved. I mean, this was one way they could, but again, with the searching, if they were to give us something like this Artopo app to download, or now it's CalTopo is also integrated there. So that could help us tremendously to understand what's all been searched and where we would need to focus efforts on. I do agree, and I have footage of the search that we did at Drake's Creek, and I mean, it is very treacherous. You have uphill, and then you're going, downhill, and then uphill. Like, so if you're grid searching, you're really, I mean, it's hard to cover a lot of area in a short amount of time.
Yes, even with multiple of us.
Yeah. I mean, there
And
was 8 of us. Yeah.
that's the point I'm making. There's too much. It's too vast. If they have some information, I know they have to hold things close to the vest, but give us a direction, north, east, south, west, northwest. Give us something. I mean, we could say all the way from here to Memphis. That's too large. They need to give us more. And I don't know what you guys feel about the statement. I've never really I know what it says, but the statement of, we have no evidence that he ever left the house. So what happened? So is he in the walls? I don't know. I don't know what you guys think.
What I think is
Go
that
ahead,
he
TJ.
left. What I think is that he left the house for the last time before Texas Roadhouse. And maybe he went out in the SUV from inside the garage.
That was my first thought when I heard that. That driving around after she drove all around the neighborhood with her window up, searching for Sebastian. She couldn't hear him if he was calling for her. His body was in the back of her trunk or something like that. And that's why Chris was so paranoid about giving the makes, the model, and the years of their vehicles. I think because they didn't want them to be searched, or I know newer vehicles can, there's like a black box in there, can kind of track everything.
Yeah, I was wondering if they ever bothered to look there or the work van, because I think at this point either there was a handoff before they went home from the Texas Roadhouse, there that could be, or in the morning, or also I have to consider the 3 a.m. lights, because TJ, when I was watching your footage earlier, you were up on the top of course, I'm going to forget the street name, and I can also pull it up, but it doesn't appear that the street, like that car lights could do the same effect as the so-called flashlight video,
I
in my
don't believe it
opinion,
can
watching
either.
that. You don't think so either?
No. I mean,
Interesting.
the flashlight wouldn't have disappeared right behind the car lights wouldn't have disappeared behind the gazebo. It's at street level. If it's a street up behind, those lights are going to be way up high, in my opinion.
Right.
And driving over there, I didn't get the feeling that they were coming from that road. And I didn't find another road back there that would qualify either.
So you did go on the other side, because the other side seems to be lower to me, in my opinion, from being there. I want to show that footage that you had there. Oh, I think I'm right here on it. Oh, okay. No, this is also, I did want to show this part too. And this is credit to KeyJ's True Crime Campfire. And so this part's really interesting too. I don't want to go too off subject, but I mean, there's Chris's camper pop-ups out and everything with his truck blocking the, driveway. Just back up just a little bit. And I find that to be very interesting, because when I went past there on Sunday night about 6:30 p.m., it was like a ghost town.
Yeah, sorry I didn't pan over there to see it very well.
No, it's okay. I mean, I understand it. It's good to see the neighborhood how it is now. I wish we had more, well, thanks to a couple of different creators, really got a lot in the beginning. Angels Listening says, in my opinion, it was to provoke Seth, because in my opinion, they believe they can silence him, and the awareness for Sebastian. They know they made mistakes. And I believe that too. I think that they know. When you saw Craddock come in, KJ, was he walking with his head held high? Because, oh boy.
He was trying to get in the building fast.
Yeah, it feels to me like his head was down. But I was scrambling to get my camera out and get it up there and get it recording. And I just caught the very end when he was going in the building. But he walked all the way from across the street, like in a catty corner, diagonal type of trajectory. So he probably came from that road across from us down there.
Okay. So this is I'll show really quick that footage. Also, let's see. Oh, did you put it? It was a short, wasn't it? I think. Oh yeah, there we
There it
go.
is.
Here he is. So he just hurried up, put his coat in, and he was off to the races. And that is the front door, so he didn't go in the back entrance because I thought that was the back entrance too, but then someone was telling me no. So, but yeah, you were up in the neighborhood and this is the one we were in. But
I'm just going to keep on recording. Let me see if I can pull this down a little so that I can see better. Yeah.
Is this the Proudfoot area?
Driving.
Yes.
Right now I'm on the street up from Kellen. I don't know if it goes around or anything.
yeah, the street up from Kellen.
Here we are in the Proudfoots neighborhood.
And see, this one does go up like a big hill. So I guess they're saying when the cars were going downward that's what the flashlight videos were.
Yeah, and to the right on the screen would be the
Oh, sorry,
Kellen
go
would be
ahead.
down from it to the right. And I show that when I turn around and come back. Try to see what I can down on Kellen Lane. But it was difficult too. There were lots of houses in the way. And I was scared I was going to fall off a cliff, holding the camera and driving at the same time.
You were doing really well because I'm the same way when I'm driving. I'm like, I need to pay attention. But yeah, I mean, this is a great view of that other street up there that they were talking about in the FBI post, saying that the flashlights video, that's how that came to be. Because before, in the beginning, they were telling us it was a trash truck, which none of us believe that.
No. They don't have go-go gadget headlights.
No, exactly. I mean, they're going to be working in tandem, right? They're going to be moving together, not independently. And so that's my issue with that.
Showing the day video of this, have you ever been there at night when it's pitch black?
I have, but I didn't have video capabilities that night.
So you can't even see your hand in front of your face because it's completely dark there.
Except for the homes. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. I don't know if TJ can send it to you to put up, but I was there December of 2024, right around Sebastian's birthday. Just did a drive-by coming home. And I drove down the street around the Proudfoots in the new neighborhood. At that time, their house was lit up like a light bulb. So I go back to the question, why was it pitch black all around their house that night? It was to hide something.
I agree. Well, and Dolly went past and he showed that there were no light bulbs in.
Yeah, I remember that. No floodlight bulbs in, and then miraculously they reappeared after it was brought up or something like that. Or someone asked, were the lights missing or anything? And he went back through his footage and looked. And then when they looked again, it was still there. They put it back in.
I mean, and that speaks volumes to me because, I mean, if they didn't have them in there that night, but they had them in after the fact, when did they take them out, sort of thing? Because it wasn't like they weren't working; they were actually unscrewed, from the sockets. There was no light bulbs in at all.
That to me is premeditated. Why would you take your light bulbs out? To me, it seems like they're hiding something, or we know they are, but it's just weird. But yet, on the day,
I
as I
agree.
said, I sent KJ that picture. The night I drove by, all the outside lights are on. It's lit up beautifully, but the night Sebastian goes missing, it's pitch black.
I'm
Right,
looking for that picture right now.
right. And I'll tell you, let me go ahead and take this off. I did upload the nighttime video because I didn't realize when I was live that my camera orientation was off, and so I fixed it and reposted that part just today. And it's called Ride Along, just so you guys, if you wanted to find it. Um, Bear with me here. Here we go. So I come into the Victoria Place here, and it's super dark. So I missed my street. Like I thought I was, turning onto Stafford, and I turned onto the street that's right next to it. And I turned around, in the cul-de-sac.
Okay, lady, I have that picture on its way to your text.
Oh, great. Thank you.
That's Alana's picture. When was that from again, Alana?
It was around Sebastian's birthday or just after in 2024. Oh yeah, 2020, December of 24.
See, and this just reminds me of, like, why does Katie not have her work van in the driveway anymore?
Yeah, it's gone.
Yeah, because it wasn't in the driveway when you went by, was it, KJ?
It was hidden behind the fence there, and his truck was there.
Oh, you're breaking up a little bit. Could you repeat that? I'm sorry.
Unless it was hidden behind the fifth wheel.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, because I think they only had the trailer and that's it in the driveway this time when I went by. And I mean, it's super dark in the neighborhood, like you said, except for the houses. And I'm sure they put more lighting in after as well.
Yeah, they had like crews come in to reinstall security cameras and everything. They're like very top line. Um, it sees every corner of their house. It makes me so mad. Why didn't they have it when Sebastian was there? As a mother, it's an unspoken oath. You protect your child at no cost, to any cost to yourself, and you put yourself before your child to protect them. It makes me so angry with Katie.
I
Anybody
agree.
could have taken Sebastian without, sending him somewhere, getting away. So many people would have taken him in, and that's what is the hardest part about this, is Katie not being a real mother. I've mentioned it a lot in different Facebook groups. I just can't stomach it because I'm my own child, much like Sebastian, but older and is highly functioning and doesn't live with me full time, has his own place. But when he was Sebastian's age, I would have treated him so much better than Katie flinging a menu to him um, at the Texas Roadhouse. He felt like you could feel by that and see by Sebastian there was a disconnect between Katie and Sebastian, and it appeared to me that it had been going on a long time. I wish I was given Sebastian as an alternative.
Well, I
I
think
couldn't
Seth
agree
would
more.
have made arrangements and taken him in at a moment's notice, but I think that was absolutely not her plan.
Yeah, I know there was a lot because of school, and you can't just pull. I mean, it's tough to just pull a kid out of school. One, it's frowned upon, they don't like that. And then also, they didn't want, in my opinion, Seth to find out about the CPS reports because he didn't have knowledge of that. He didn't know that, Chris was beating Sebastian with a belt, and he found that out after the fact.
Right. I also think that there was a fear of what Sebastian may say if he was questioned about whether Faith should come and live with them or not.
Right. Because, even Seth has said to me before that, Faith absolutely looked at Sebastian like a brother and, big brother. And then, Sebastian looked at Faith as a little sister, right? There wasn't like step sister, half sister, anything
Right.
like that, that they never, because they're little kids, they
Yeah.
don't specify that. They've grown up together in a certain respect. And, I just think that he would have tried to protect Faith. I mean, if he didn't want to live there, why would he want his little sister to live there?
Exactly.
Yeah, but I mean, it did appear that, Katie and them were not home, but there was a light on. I did notice this when I was editing this. So these two bright ass lights,
Uh-huh.
that didn't seem to be on that night. But
If you
then you can kind of
received
tell.
the text
See?
message from her, there's a
Mhm.
better um picture of it, not on video, and you can see it pretty better, much better, sorry.
Oh, great. Oh,
Better
no, I
glow.
see it. Let me see if I can't upload this in here. You guys go ahead and talk really quick. Just bear with me one.
I just want to quickly, while she's doing that, just change gears and go back to the sheriff for a minute. Um, all the dates that Betty was in court, many of us were there too. And I just want to go back because this is what really makes me boil with Sheriff Craddock. Is on August 8th, 2024, Betty was supposed to be in court for a court hearing regarding the ROs. It was delayed or scheduled to another date, but Lisa Byington, um, since detective that has stepped down or retired, was in court, and she told the judge that the Proudfoots and the Bowersox stopped in at the sheriff's office because they were running late. They thought it would be quicker. To me, that is like favoritism. Normally, if you're running late, you call the court clerk and let them know. You don't go to the sheriff's office. That just tells me it's buddy buddy. And further, on the 8th, after everything was court proceedings was done with that case, me and three others walked down to the sheriff's office because one of the three had some evidence they wanted to give Craddock. Um, and first, a woman came to the door and answered it, and then went and got Craddock. Craddock wouldn't let us come into the sheriff's office because it was believed that Katie and Chris and the Power Sox was still in there in Craddock's office. Um, and he wouldn't take the evidence. And also, I asked him on that date, August 8th, 2024, are you further today than you were on February 26th, 2024, to finding Sebastian? What he said to me is, am I a resident of Sumner County? I said, what does that have to do with anything? And he would not take the evidence, as I said. Also, I asked, would there ever be any more news conferences? He said there will be no more. There you have it.
Wow. So he said there will be no more, and also asked you if you're a resident of Sumner County. See, that's what worries me about trying to gather footage also, is because if we don't live there, then they might not see a reason for us to.
It makes sense, but I'm just trying to show like how much corruption there is there. Like, You have the detective, Lisa Byington, standing up and telling the judge that they went to the sheriff's office because they were running late. The Bowersox home is closer to the courthouse than the sheriff's office is. They went right by the courthouse to get to the sheriff's office, basically. It doesn't make sense to me. And I do believe just a little more about the sheriffs. And then they voted to send the bill to the grand jury to see if they would indict her. And the citizens and residents of Sumner County voted no, not to indict Bullhorn Betty. I think that screams loud that the Proudfoots are disliked and they know they did something to their child.
I agree 1,000,000%. That's the way I felt, Alana. I felt that way even at when I went to Pigfest.
Yeah, I wasn't able to go to that. But that was a little ridiculous. They didn't get to, you didn't hand out flyers, but you wore your green shirts, right? Or no?
Right. Yeah, we wore our shirts and, had the flyer on it. My bag has the flyer. You know, so that was really nice to be able to do that, but I could tell that, just the environment. Now Mayor Isbell was there too.
Can I tell you something about that I heard at the protest? I heard
Sure.
someone went up, not Jen, but the woman in white that we won't identify, went up to
Mhm.
the board that was presenting this. And one of the channels that were kind of a hate channel had sponsored this event. And one of Sumner County's residents brought the information to um, the board of this and said, did you know that this woman is racial prejudice? How can you be letting her support this event? And she said to me that the committee or board or person in charge didn't even know that was the fact about this person, how ignorant and how racist and judgmental and horrible things that they had said about Seth.
Right. I know who you're talking about, and I did hear something like that as well. Um, pretty much spot on to what you just said, that they were not aware that that was who was representing their, festival, which made me feel better, because I was thinking, well, maybe they, I mean, because I'm not from the area, I just don't know, right? But I mean, that kind of solidified it to me. I think they made her pull out, if I'm not
But
mistaken.
still kept her money, is what that woman said.
Yeah, because it's non-refundable, I heard. Yeah, so I mean, I think most people, that's why, I hate to be like, "Oh, Sumner County's so terrible," because I mean, I've met so many good, nice people from that area, that really care, that are just good people, that are just as frustrated as the next person about Sebastian being missing. Um, and Angels Are Listening says, in my opinion, has CPS done their job and told Seth, then Seth 100% would have taken Sebastian in that direct moment. I agree with that. Yes, exactly. And Sebastian would be safe now. He had to get a lawyer to even get those records.
You know what about those records? Not me, not my children, but extended family. I'm just going to say either ran away or was murdered in the home. And I wonder if that fifth CPS report in the other state I was born and raised, if there's a runaway or something bad happens in the home, CPS is called. If it's a death of a child, CPS is on and called for a death investigation on the CPS side. There's also the criminal side. So I'm wondering if the fifth, I don't know if we ever got clarification if the fifth was a new one since Sebastian went missing. I've always wondered that.
Is I've heard that it is not required for CPS to be called because of a child running away unless that child had already been involved in CPS before. I
Like
don't know if that's
involved,
true
like
or not.
it's founding, or you can have 4 reports, they find nothing, but you continually get these reports called in at some point. There you have to follow it up further unless they didn't. Because even 3, I would have thought, maybe not here because it's not the same, that would be suspicious and they would be digging for more.
Oh, I know. I think their story had to be so suspicious, and I play it every night with Sheriff Craddock saying, "I'm not going to say that he was barefoot." His mom says that all of his shoes are accounted for, but I'm not going to say he's barefoot, which tells me that he didn't believe Katie. So
Right. And
why
that,
has there not been any type of, you know what I mean? He
I
can't
do.
possibly believe her.
I'm
I've
just
always
shaking my
wondered
head.
if they're not clearing Seth, not because he's guilty, but because they want to keep the Proudfoots watching, and
Appeased.
on top of things, and maybe catch them in a lie or something. Because I've also, my other emotion at that rally was I'm extremely upset that they have not cleared Seth and he has an
Mm,
airtight alibi. Where
It
you have
seems
Chris
like
saying
such
he's
an
in Memphis,
injustice. Yeah.
and then you hear when in an interview when they're talking, it was one of maybe Smiley's World. Katie said the dogs sleep with her when Chris isn't there. But that night,
Mhm.
Chris said that Katie was falling asleep on the couch. She told her to put the dogs away and go to bed. So does that mean Chris was there? And he's had too much knowledge of what happened there for not being there, if that makes sense.
I agree, and he never recalls the information as if he's on the phone, right? Like, so if I'm on the phone with you, and something happens, say KJ's with you, and, something happens there, I'm gonna tell the story as if I overheard what happened between the 2 of you, not as if I was there.
right. I mean, and he didn't say anything like, even though we were on speakerphone or even though we were on a video chat, I would have heard if he went out the window. No, he said it as if he were in another room.
Right. I agree. I agree, and he says "we" a lot, right? We, and, instead of "I heard," or, Katie told Sebastian, something like that, because that makes more sense, uh, telling the story as if you're on the phone rather than being in the, and also he said that he saw what Sebastian was wearing to bed.
Exactly. And I think he could have seen that on a video phone, but how much attention
Sure.
are either one of them paying to him when he's possibly on video phone hours away and Katie's talking to him and studying and falling asleep on the couch? She don't know what he was wearing either, and I don't even believe that he was in the home. I think everything after Texas Roadhouse is a straight up lie out of her mouth, in my opinion.
And to kind of piggyback on that, just looking at all the interviews from when he went missing, the first creepy hands one, and then Chris trying to refer to Ellie that told them not to talk, twist the words on the statement the sheriff's office released. There have been too many past tenses, even from the beginning, from Katie on the videos, especially the Olivia Chronicles of Olivia. She can't keep her story straight. She says, I ran back to the house, and then she says, I drove back to the house. I always felt like that's leakage or a Freudian slip, that she really walked back to the house. And part of the script was she drove back to the house. And my thinking with that is she walked back to the house at 3 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
and didn't drive. And in that, also in that video, he was already what? I referenced this before. Already dead, gone. There's only so many things he already could be.
Well, and we don't know if she was talking about Chris or Sebastian right there either. Chris could have already hung up to call the sheriff's department because, in my opinion, he's on video phone with her when he's calling her because he's a controlling man.
Yeah,
And
Very much so.
but
so I
also,
think he talks to her on video phone and he wasn't able to three-way from a video call. So we would have had to hang up with her to call them. And he says he was on the phone pretty much most of the time, which we don't know what that time is. Maybe he's talking about the whole day. I don't know. But I feel like he probably had to call her back to tell her that they're on their way to get back to the house.
but when I'm also what I wanted to say is in that statement, she also does a gesture, like slides her hand across her neck, like he's dead or his neck was
Right.
cut or something. I don't
Yes.
It's the cutthroat
understand.
gesture. It is, Ilana, you're right. It's the cutthroat gesture that she does. She like takes her hand and, puts it across her throat, really.
Yes, she does. However, I realize that people use that gesture a lot just to mean like it's over, stop, time out,
That's
different
true.
things. So it could be a whole plethora of different things she could have been meaning.
Yeah,
Maybe Sebastian was already at the place that they were going to keep him. Maybe he was already gone.
Yeah, or they
Maybe
already
Chris
took
had
him
already
somewhere.
hung up.
Yeah. Now this picture that Alana sent in, this is, I mean, there is a super bright light on the corner of the house up here. And then we have the two bright lights above the garage. And Katie has the front porch light on. And had that been on the night that Sebastian went missing, I would imagine we probably could have seen where the garbage was taken out. Um, because like even in this video that I took the other night, their trash was at the end of the driveway
see,
here.
but it still isn't as dark or as bright as the one I did. And that's what irks
No,
me.
yours is well, and the thing is like with yours, this big other light was on as well. Here, on the side of the house. So I mean, you
True.
could really, yeah, I mean that's really bright. That helps tremendously, and you can also see, like, back in the distance that someone else's lights are really bright too. Because any lights in the neighborhood, because there's no street lights, is gonna, really show through, so hello, Shauna, good to see you.
This picture
So
You
looks
know
like
what
it
else
was
bothers
probably
me?
before they put up the yard sign for him. I don't see that there in this picture.
when was this taken again, Alana?
First week of December, 2024.
First week of December, that's right, thank you, December of
That isn't their
24.
mailbox. This is the bigger house on the left. It's still there. I remember driving by it. Their mailbox is on the other corner right there, a little further
Yeah,
down.
because they had that up, didn't they? I mean, for a while they had that up.
But here's the question. They can have the sign up at their home, but why can't Katie Proudfoot have the magnetic signs on her vehicle? That's what I want to know.
Oh yeah, she took them down. What was it, April? Or
Yeah,
was it March?
March when JLR was there.
March
Um,
when JLR was there. Okay. Yeah, because I remember seeing it on It's a Crime and Shame. She's a Canadian channel and does a wonderful job. She's followed Jack and Lily most recently that I know of. And that's where I saw it. And she's like, hey, and then Seth was on her panel, you know, She was like, "Hey Seth, did you know that she took off the decals?" is what she was calling them, but she was referring to the car magnets. And apparently the Proudfoots and the Bowersox took the magnets off their vehicles.
And
Because
Seth,
they want
I
it swept
believe,
on.
I'm sorry. I believe Seth was telling me that his magnets were stolen from him way back, and he got more the other day. So he put them
Yeah.
back in his truck.
Yes, he did. Yeah, yeah. He absolutely said that, and he also said that when he was in front of the police station the first time when he went out there. Um, so yeah, but now he's all magnetized again. And I don't know if somebody took those off, took those off of there to be malicious, or maybe because they wanted to put it on their vehicle. I don't know. But it would seem that it would be par for the course in Sebastian's case, unfortunately.
My honest opinion, why
Yeah.
Katie Proudfoot did that is because she wanted this to be all swept under the rug. They did not realize they did not have um, education or thought to how big this case was going to blow up um, and go worldwide, not even nationally. Sebastian is known around the world, and they're kind of stuck now, I guess,
Yeah.
is what
In
you can
my
say.
in my opinion, they didn't think anybody was going to care because they don't. And I hope she feels not so smart because of that, in my opinion.
So I also want to bring something else up about Katie Proudfoot. It was the first court date for BHB in September. I always show up the courthouse as soon as it opens. I was sitting down, and when I saw the Proudfoots walking towards the courtroom, I went into the courtroom. And then about 20 minutes later, I had to use the ladies' room. And I did. And I walked back. Chris was talking to someone else, and I had that green shirt I had on at the rally. And Katie said to me, "Thank you for bringing awareness to my son." And I turned around to Katie and I said, "Where is he?" And her face turned bright red, and Chris came running over saying, "Oh, you can come stand with us. We're not supposed to be before the judge until 10 o'clock. I said, "No, thank you." And I walked back in the courtroom.
Wow, that is very interesting. So she wasn't expecting you to say that at all.
Nope. She was more expecting for me to say, "You're welcome."
Right. Yeah, exactly. That's what, and I may have, just as a classical conditioned response, I may have said that myself, "You're welcome." But then, that was really bold and awesome of you to ask her that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because most people would just say, "Okay, you're welcome." But in the same way, I was wondering why Katie was never wearing the shirt. I mean, the only time I've ever seen her wear Sebastian's shirt was in the Reels interview in the very beginning. And then she wore it in this most recent interview, but they didn't show it until the end.
Right.
And you
And
could tell
somebody
that she's
pointed
never
out that,
worn them. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, KJ.
yeah, somebody was pointing out on a show that I was watching that hers is brand new. Seth's is worn.
Yes. Seth's are worn. He's got multiple shirts, but he's worn them all so many times that, you can tell he's washed and dried them, and, you can just kind of tell what a brand new shirt looks like as opposed to one that's been worn before.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because they start getting cracked and stuff.
And thank you,
And
Patty, for becoming a new member. Welcome to the Dragon Tribe. Gosh, Alana, you
something
just have so many stories, huh?
I do,
Just
I've been
from
in the thicket. I try to stay quiet because, I have a son in college and he's going into a well-known profession. So I try to stay in the bushes as much as possible because I don't need you know, any slack
Sure.
or, anything. You know how people can't keep the creators' children off their content. So I'm just very careful. That's the reason I've shared it somewhat on BHV's Facebook, but not everything that has happened. And that same day in September, um, no, it was the day we went to the sheriff's office to try to give Craddock some information, and that's when he asked me, "Am I a resident?" We all came out and we stood along the railing there at Sumner County Courthouse, and Katie and Maddie, Kathy Bowersox were coming out, and Maddie got a little before Katie on the steps, squeezed her cheeks and said, "I knew you could do it. You did a good job on the stand, good job while you were in there," or something. And it's almost like that was part of the script. Like Katie saying, "I'm not going to be able to do this if I go in there." And some sick, evil, twisted love or practice or something. It was just odd. The whole family's odd, is my suggestion.
I
Yeah, when
agree.
you
And
watch,
so do you think that she was giving her props? Like, I mean, it sounds like it. Like you did so well. Like we knew so they that sounds to me like they were coaching Katie,
Coaching, that's the
right?
word.
Like,
So when they walked out and it was a relief and they were able to release that anxiety, Katie was on the
mm,
second step, Kathy was on the third step at the courthouse, and Maddie or Kathy Bowersox turned around, looked Katie in the eye, squeezed her cheeks, gave her a kiss, and told her, "I knew you could do it."
wow, that makes me sick in my stomach. What do you think, KJ?
I think that it sounds like Kathy Bowersox wants Katie to be her own kid. I mean, it sounds like, just like she trying to take Nina's kid, in my opinion, and allegedly. And it sounds like she's kind of adopted Katie as well. And Katie might be closer to Kathy than Kathy is to Chris. And it puts a whole new spin on what could have happened, because I've mostly been focusing my bad feelings, in my opinion, toward Katie and Chris. But there have been questions for me about Kathy Bowersox, but with her coddling Katie like this,
Coddling too is a great
allegedly,
word.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it just feels like maybe she's trying to take a position with Katie and make her feel like her little, um, I don't know the word I'm looking for, but
Um,
let's see, like she's her little puppet. Like Katie works for Kathy too, and Kathy gives her all the rewards that she needs that she probably didn't get when she was a child, in my
I think
opinion.
no,
that's
there's
what's
so
so
much
screwed
abuse there.
up.
One thing I
Oh,
will say, I totally feel bad for Katie in her past. I'm not even going to bring it up.
mhm.
Foster care, whatever happened in her biological mom's home, and then, I guess being adopted or went to live with some family in Virginia or something, or North Carolina. Um, she's had a hard life,
Yeah.
but that's not an excuse for what Christopher Proudfoot has done to Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. She's a mother. She should have protected that child, no matter if it dissolved their marriage.
Oh,
And
I
Ella
agree
Beverly.
100%. And I think it makes me even more sick for Katie because I feel the same way that you do. I think that that's horrible. And then to have the only support system be evil is unimaginable, right? Because you would think that you would have a softer place to land. Wow.
And I
Yeah.
also
Wow.
feel whatever has happened to Sebastian, um, Just reviewing the second year interview with Katie, the guilt is eating her through and through. She's drinking heavily. You can just tell it in her face. She's gained a lot of weight. That could be from alcohol as well. We know she has an alcohol problem. So
Hmm.
it sounds like she can't live with herself.
I think you're right. I think the guilt is eating away at her, and then with Chris, he's gotten gray. I mean, he was fully gray in the America's Most Wanted interview when he didn't just ferment his hair, because I think he just ferments his hair. But I mean, I think it's taking its toll. Absolutely. I mean, how could it not? Unless you just really don't have a conscience at all, which I do think Katie does, based on you telling me that you asked her where Sebastian is and her face turned red. That's outwardly showing that she does have a conscience,
So
in
I
my
don't really
opinion.
want to say I'm a Katie supporter, but over these 2 years, I've been going back and forth with this. Uh,
Yes.
it has really bothered me. Um, Chris has been very preoccupied with Sebastian's bathroom habits. Something to me doesn't feel right there. And and I'll say it first, I'm not accusing anyone. This is my opinion. I keep going back to what happened in California, what happened to Sebastian um, in California, and how Chris is so, like obsessed with his wearing diapers and peeing himself, whatever. And it makes
Mhm.
me wonder if he was being sexually abused in that home. I have no evidence of that, but if you read about sexual abuse, it's generational. It's usually passed down from one generation to another, and it's a cycle that is hard to break. Now, with Chris being so into Sebastian's bathroom habits, was there sexual abuse going on with him and Chris? That's just all my opinion, allegedly, because a lot of things that Chris says, wetting the bed, boys, yeah, can be potty trained, and then at 7, 8, 9, and 11, because their bladder doesn't develop as much faster, they can wet the bed for a couple years after fully potty trained. But at 15, you shouldn't need to be wearing diapers. Although Seth has said he didn't wear diapers at his house, but again, why is there such a preoccupation with the bathroom habits? I don't get that. And Katie worrying to go in her child's room because he may be masturbating. That's a normal teen. If something happens, a sound, i.e., my son is almost 23. I go into his room when he's home here. I knock on the door 3 times and I go in and turn the light on and announce myself. I don't understand why she couldn't do that, or she thought it was gross. Um, something's up there, and I hate to go down that path, but that's just something I've pondered the last 2 years.
I think that she was making an excuse of why she didn't go check on him.
Yeah, I think she was also making it seem like Sebastian was like, so inappropriate, and that he would do something like that all the time, or, anytime there was a noise, as Alana was saying, that he would be in there doing that. And, boys, sure, I can understand that to a certain extent, but I've also often wondered about why Sebastian didn't have issues when he went to his dad's, and then if we look at the Texas Roadhouse video, he didn't have any issues there either, and he wasn't, in my opinion, wearing a pull-up.
He
He
actually used the
was.
bathroom there.
Yeah, he used
Yeah.
the bathroom just fine. And then when he was in the video of his birthday where Aunt Melissa was teasing him, he was wearing a pull-up that day. In my opinion, from the picture you can see it. Um, and that's how I could tell whether he wasn't that day and whether he was, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of questions. There's a lot of abuse that has happened on Katie's side, and there's stuff that happened that was Katie's fault in California. I often
Right.
wonder if she was really an incompetent parent. You know, one CPS
Mhm.
report is one too many. I get, yeah, maybe there can be a miscommunication, or, someone reports something that they're not too sure about and it's really nothing. But then when you get two, three, four, what's going on to be causing it?
Mm.
Although Chris always guilt tripped Sebastian about telling his teachers, but the fact that Sebastian had the courage to go in and tell his professional teachers there was something horrible going on at home, that speaks to Sebastian's intelligence. And he was able to actively communicate, unlike what these Proudfoots have portrayed to the world.
Yeah, and I've wondered if Sebastian's IQ might be higher than both of theirs, and there was some jealousy there with the child that's that really is more intelligent than they are, and they don't have answers for things that he asks, and he can put them in their place, and they don't have a way to come back. Because a child that can play chess and beat adults, of course, I'm believing Chris Proudfoot saying that, and that picture of him playing chess, but I believe that. I think he was or is very intelligent, and there might have been a problem because of that too, because both of them seem to need to be right.
Oh, definitely. I agree. And yes, to the best of my knowledge, he was able to beat adults in chess. And also, with Seth saying he played Magic the Gathering and also Dungeons and Dragons, I mean, there's just so much memorization and reading involved with the cards. If you look at the cards, you can really tell that he was extremely intelligent and had the wherewithal to strategize. And it even just more so solidifies that he wouldn't have just done anything unplanned, in my opinion. He would have taken
Absolutely
his
not.
money,
He
his
would have
phone.
left with his phone, game
Yes.
system, shoes, clothes, appropriate jacket. I cannot buy
Yes.
that business Chris is saying. And every time you ask him what he's wearing, Chris tries to twist it up and make you confused. Why can't they just say it could have been a Pokemon shirt, it could have been a Minecraft shirt, or it could have been a, I don't know, Smurf shirt, all black, in black running pants with a stripe down it. I've never understood why they couldn't give us a description of what he could be wearing, because what he could be wearing would be the same thing he goes to bed in, or if you take the runaway, he would have ran away in some style of that. I know what type of clothes my son wears, not the color and everything. I can tell you it's a Calvin Klein polo shirt, polo jeans, all the way down to his underwear, like he wears Hanes. So I don't understand why they couldn't just say, yeah, a sweat jacket from what? Walmart, Nike?
I know,
It
and
doesn't
that's
make
moms,
sense.
right? We know everything. We know their socks. We know their, I mean, we know. We just know.
Yeah, so as Katie, as the mother, should have said yes. Sebastian could have left the house in flannel pants and a white t-shirt, like an undershirt. And if he gone and put shoes on, Nike shoes and Nike socks, or done that black, Minecraft long sleeve shirt, jacket, black jacket. There is with these children, they do everything the exact same way, day in and day out. It's routine. Their clothes become routine. They only can wear certain clothes because of their sensory issues. So I don't know who Katie thinks she's kidding, or Chris, that they don't know what Sebastian wore.
Right. And
Well,
especially when you only have one kid to account for. Like if you have multiple kids, then I can understand, maybe you forget what nightgown they're wearing to bed, or, which shirt they're wearing, something like that. But yeah, when it's one child, it's like that one child is your world. Only children get all the attention, right? And that's because they're the only ones to give attention to. Um,
Yeah, but I think that Katie and Chris are so terribly codependent on each other
mm,
that they probably were not paying him a lot of attention. I can imagine, I don't think it's true, but I could see back in the day when I first heard that they were on the phone for that long, I could imagine that happening, just being on the phone together, just hearing each other's presence, just each other's breathing while they're going about doing their own thing, just because they don't know how to stay away from each other for any period of time. And I could believe that they could be on the phone that long all the time. Me and my sister can stay on the phone that long, and we're both going about our own day, but it's how we hang out, you know. And so, and I would have to admit that we're probably a little codependent on each other ourselves, with the people that you're closest to.
oh, definitely. I mean, I think everybody has a bit of that, and I did absolutely, learn that in counseling. But then I was thinking to myself, I'm like, well, but everyone's a little bit codependent because we need each other, right? But there's a
Yes.
there's a whole nother level. Sparky Doo says, "Oh my, OMG, you totally nailed that codependency."
Thank you, Sparky Doo.
The
Yeah.
other thing I found very interesting from CP is it was during like the middle of the first day of Sebastian going missing. He turns to Seth and says, "What if this goes south? Um,
Ugh.
Only south I know is Sebastian being dead."
Right. I mean,
So
that's what I would think. I would have lost it. I've said it here before. I would have probably decked him and then
I
put
would
my
have
hands
grabbed him
behind my
by his
back.
shirt. You know how adrenaline makes you stronger than you really are. I would be
Mhm.
flying off the hook, um, wanting to know why he said that, but I don't know. Why would you
No, I
say
think
that
that's a
on day
great
one?
point. Yeah,
Yep.
I don't know why anybody would say that to another parent, right? Because you're both parents. Chris Proudfoot does have a daughter, right? And so how would he feel if somebody talked about faith that way? But then even more so, he married Katie, so that's technically his stepson, right? Or is his stepson. I just don't ever think he was a step parent to him. That's why we call him Stepfoot over here, because he
Yep.
wasn't a
Stepfoot
yeah,
And Mr.
Stepfoot.
needs to
Chris.
learn when you get married to a woman that has children, you are supposed to
Mhm.
protect that child, regardless of their mental capacity, regardless of diagnosis, as your own. You're supposed to treat him, care for him, teach him as they're your own child. And the same goes for your wife. Any children that the husband brings into the marriage, she has to treat them like she's their mother. And that
Oh,
isn't what
yeah,
Right.
that's
happened
what
here.
kids yeah, they need that. They want that, and because I know a lot of people would say, "I bet Sebastian wouldn't wanna go back to them," and, I think of it like he just wanted the abuse to stop. He didn't hate them or anything, in my opinion. I mean, maybe there was times where he was very upset with them. I mean, who wouldn't be if someone's calling you the kinds of names that Chris was saying, and then saying he likes to use the bathroom in his pants, but not so nice, Um, that to me. And then Katie also as a mom saying like, "Oh, he needed more deodorant," and, but
Or
then
he
she
is,
never talks
or
about
he's
him
goofy.
showering. Yeah, or he's goofy, and I never thought that ever. Looking at Sebastian, I've never thought to myself, "Well, he looks goofy."
No,
Never, never. I
no.
think he's a beautiful kid, and just a handsome young man, and with Katie, even when Holly Thompson was asking her, What about the milestones have you missed?" I mean, she doesn't even cry. She doesn't even show any type of emotion or worry in her face whatsoever.
Yeah, and you know what? She continues. She does this awkward laugh, inappropriate laugh. I know sometimes people laugh, when they're under distress, but also that inappropriate laugh she does through that first 2 year, the video through the entire first 2 year video, um, is awkward. And then also she continues to look up at heaven. I don't think we'll ever get, as long as Chris Proudfoot is in the picture, we will never get a raw interview from Katie. It's always going to be choreographed. There's always going to be the same set of questions
The
to be
coughing in the
answered.
background.
Yes,
Can
he
you
was
get
watching her like a hawk.
exactly what
Do
I
you
would
guys
like?
want to watch The Deception Detective and give some thoughts on what he has to say?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that's fine.
Great. Yeah, because he went ahead and reviewed Katie's interview and people were putting it in the chat and I'm like, "Oh, this is the moment we've all been waiting for," you know?
I looked it up earlier today and it wasn't, and then it popped on my screen that he had done one. I was like, yes.
I know. I'm so excited because I really like his perspective because he's used to pointing these things out, and he's really good at it.
One
So,
other thing I wanted to say before we start
yeah,
um,
go for it.
watching the video. In
Yeah.
early April of 2024, I drove down to Horn Lake, Mississippi. I
Oh,
posted flyers. No one knew that Sebastian was missing there. I didn't think they would. I posted in restaurants and whatever gas stations would allow me to post. And then I went to the Yogi Bear campground and I asked if I could have a tour of one of their I pretended like I was interested. They gave me a tour. I got to look around and I said I either want a cabin or bring my RV there. So I was allowed to walk around and look at the campsites. I walked past Kate and Chrissy, that's what he belonged. Chrissy Pissy Piss Pants site.
yes.
And then I said, okay, what is the price and it ended. And then we were trying to get directions up on our phone because I'm not from there. And we just so happened because Chris Proudfoot's trailer and truck was so close to the end of the line up against the metal gate. They were the last spot closest to the road. We stopped to put in an address so we could start heading back. And we basically ran off the property because they were screaming. They came up in a golf cart. You can't park here. You can't loiter here. You need to leave. You can't be right here. So even down there in Horn Lake, they were being protected.
Wow. And then didn't he go I heard something like Chris saying that he went to management and complained and,
And they moved
anybody
him.
that's
He was moved like twice, maybe three times. But at the time I did, it was like the second weekend in April. I did the drive down there, and he was closest, second row, closest to the road by the metal gate. Um, and yeah, they're they're being protected here at home, and they're also being protected at Horn Lake,
yeah, and I
or
just
were.
don't think that that's right. I mean,
And Alana, you also sent me an image of their camper at that campground.
Yeah,
And
you
you
can send it to
also,
her. I mean, a lot of people. I don't have a problem. A lot of people have it, but yeah, while I was there, because I was being kicked off, my husband was trying to get I took a picture to be spiteful, um, because I was just mad. Like every turn you make, it's like you're blocked. Proudfoots are entitled to everything to even get away from. Uh, they're above the law, and Chris just makes me sick. He left one of his wives for dead in front of an emergency room. That tells you the type of man that Sebastian had to put up with.
oh, absolutely. And then Katie co-signing on the abuse to Nina, just that's why I've always, grappled back and forth with Katie because it's like, what type of a woman does that to another woman? Even though, I mean, as far as I know, Nina hasn't done anything to Katie, as far as I know. But I mean, even if she did, or even if they had a tumultuous relationship because of Chris, because I know narcissists love to triangulate, I still don't see myself ever participating in what she participated in.
Yeah, I don't understand it. I divorced my son's father. And I don't understand why it wasn't in the agreement. The biological parent must pick up the child or meet at the airport to pick up the child, not your wife, you, if they're
Right.
traveling by airplane. Why is it Katie's responsibility? To me, that's overstepping your bounds. Like, if I had to take my son somewhere, I brought him. His father brought him to me. There was no middle person, triangular. There was no middle person with me. And
I
I don't
agree.
understand it. And as a mother, for like 8 weeks, I tried to understand Katie and stand behind Katie, picturing if it was me. But I could never, just because I can see she's lying. Um, and there's something else Chris Proudfoot mentioned very early on. I think it was the green shirt interview, dark green, where and he references Riley Strain
Yeah.
and kind of references the river. And
Mhm.
says it could be something like that. So is he in a river? Um, because I 99.8% of what comes out of Chris Proudfoot's mouth is a lie. But also a little portion you have to read between the lines is true. So why was he referencing Riley Strain in the river?
And he can only imagine how his parents feel.
Yeah, that Katie never acted like this, and I'm not making this political or religious, but in Israel there was a terrible attack on October 7th in 2023, and mother and father Rachel Goldberg Poland, she ran to every part of the world. She went from what didn't stop running from the time she woke up until the time she went to bed. She ran. She was determined. She spoke out. She spoke to city leaders. She spoke to state state in Israel, but state leaders here as too went to the White House. Why isn't Katie doing this? That is what bothers me as well.
I agree, and I think it bothers a lot of people.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll see in Deception Detectives video here in a little while. She um she says we're here. We're where? Where is she? Is she home? Is that what she's saying? She's here for Sebastian, and she's saying we're not going to stop searching and all of these things, but where is she searching at? Who has seen her?
In the last 2 years, I've never seen her search. I've seen her do photo ops. I've
Right.
never seen her hang a flyer. Nothing. But you have to remember, you don't search for something that isn't missing. So is he missing? Is he somewhere where she knows he is, or is he dead? I hope he's missing and someone has taken him, or they placed him in a school and he gets out when he's 18. But just with all the facts of this case, that is hard for me to believe. But I continue to tell myself hope is mandatory.
Oh, absolutely, but it does make you wonder because obviously she's not looking, and then again, we have to ask ourselves, is she capable of doing something to hurt Sebastian? Um,
Absolutely. She's an MIAA fighter. She was in the Navy. Um, absolutely. Even him being, a boy, getting tall, Katie could have handled him and even killed him with her own hands with being in the military. I mean, just look at, I believe it was said, the reason but why Christopher didn't complete his 20 years in the Navy was because he had an affair or something, marital affair with Katie, a married woman or something. So he was discharged. I don't know honorably or non-honorably, but in the beginning, that was said as well. So he never got 20 years. He was like 3 or 4 years short of retiring with 20 years or something.
Wow, why would you throw that all away? I just
That's
don't,
what I
that's
ask you. If
yeah.
Chris wasn't honest there and he was still married to Nina and Katie was still married to Seth, or in the process, they started it in the process. How is Chris being honest now? But there is a grain of honesty, I believe, in everything he says, but it's hard to tell what it is.
It is, yeah, and I mean, even when the computer gave them that 52% score, I mean, that's telling us that they're telling us half truths or only half of what they're saying is true. When we look at the day, right, of Sunday,
Mhm.
the 25th of February, I believe that that's the 50% is where we see them on camera places, and the other is just a bunch of, BS, in my opinion.
Yeah. Um, in my opinion, um, forgot what I was going to say. Anyway, what did you just say? What were you talking about?
Well, I was just saying that, based on the computer did the analysis of whether their statements were being truthful.
Yep.
Yeah, if they say 52%, I'm thinking that, with the day, much of the day being accounted for up until about 7 o'clock, I think the rest of that time is that other 50% or 48%.
That was just to have him on camera to proof of life photos where they went Costco or whatever. Um, but there was something brought up recently, and it was brought up very early on. Um, there is a friend of Katie's that
Hmm.
they would, not the cousin or the sister-in-law. Um, she went there with Sebastian and the niece. And this woman has, I don't know, it's a big family, 6 or 8 kids. I'm not saying I'm not accusing anybody. I can say allegedly, or in my opinion, she has 10 kids and stuff. Early on, it would, people were saying, I don't know how early on you got involved, that when they went to Dara's, something happened, and Dara and her daughter had to go into the police station. They were asked to come in.
Hmm.
So I've often gone to, did something happen there? And that's when Chris decided it had to end as well, because his marriage was on the rocks. I don't know if you knew that part.
I've heard that before. Yeah. Yeah, I
And we
have.
know it's fact that they went. And there's a whole bunch of girls. She has a few girls. So did something happen there being 15? And Chris said, that's the end of it. I'm not having any more responsibility for this. He's a liability. And that's when they came up to do whatever they did. Um,
Well, I
that's
have a
been
hard
another
time with
thought on my
that.
mind.
I just think that it was way more premeditated than that. I think that the premeditation could go all the way back to before they moved into that home. Why didn't they have cameras up? She worked for Brinks. She knew that it was very dark in that area. I think that it could all play into a long time premeditation. I
I
don't think
do
there
as
was
well.
anything that happened that day, personally.
But there could have been something that really broke the camel's back. I mean, or just really solidified things like this is what we absolutely have to do. Because I mean, obviously, it tells me that Katie needs to be coached in these situations, and it does come off to me very performative, like she was with Heather PI. I own it, I own it. This is mine, and like she's really trying to impress her husband by sinking her teeth into the private investigator who was there to
Right,
help her find her son.
right. Whole different Katie than we've been seeing otherwhere.
And, Detroit says she was only at Dara's for a few minutes, allegedly. And I
But
do wonder if she has him hiding, and I do. That's where my hope lies, is that, she does. And also Katie saying that, he could be in a basement or trafficked. I keep those at the forefront, because that's what she was saying in the beginning. And it just wouldn't surprise me. And as much as we only think about little kids getting trafficked, just look at 17-year-old Haley Busby. I mean, they absolutely took her to traffic her, and she was above the age of the, statistically trafficked individuals.
Yeah, and there are sick people out there that like they have their own idea of their victims, and some people's idea of a victim might just be Sebastian's description.
Oh, absolutely. And I believe they have everything to do with it, or guilty knowledge. Cheryl says, "Yeah, you heard that nasty come out of her big time." I mean, and that was another thing that really solidified things for me. I was like, okay, because of the cruelty she engaged in with the Foot Clan and Nina, and just the whole 9 yards. It really gave me a different perspective of Katie, because I was like you, Alana. I'm like, maybe she's been abused and she did this because her husband wanted her to, which can still be true, but she also decided that that was what she was going to do. So,
Again,
in
it
my
goes back to that
opinion,
mother's unspoken oath. She didn't
right,
protect her son as she agreed upon once delivering and taking him home. I
Right.
don't understand that. So that is the point where I can't side with Katie, because you're supposed to protect your own at any cost.
absolutely.
Absolutely.
Well, let's
Thanks.
take a look at what Katie says, or what Deception Detective says, rather, about Katie's statements. We'll just start
All
playing
right.
this. Oh,
Since
sorry, guys. There we
2
go.
years this week since Sebastian's disappearance. What feels different about this anniversary than the first?
Truthfully,
Yes, please.
every day hurts the same. It doesn't get any better. I know that there are many people out there that are still helping to share his flyer and whatnot. We continue to ask people to do that.
That's the mother of missing Tennessee teen Sebastian Rogers, and she's always saying she's doing things like asking people to share his flyer, but never actually doing them, which concerns me. So in today's video, let's watch her brand new interview with WSMV and count all the red flags. I'm Deception Detective, an attorney trained in statement analysis. This channel exposes lies and manipulation, so if that's your thing, hit subscribe. For early access to new videos, over 60 exclusive videos, and other cool perks, consider becoming a channel member. Link in description. As I said in the intro, there's a big difference between saying you ask people to share your missing son's flyer and actually looking into the camera and actually asking people to share his flyer. But before we grab our deception decks and break down that red flag as well as all the other ones in Katie's new interview, here's a quick recap of the case for anyone who's new to it or just hasn't been following the latest developments.
2 years ago tonight, Sumner County teenager Sebastian Rogers disappeared from his Hendersonville home. He hasn't been seen since. Search efforts began the next morning when he was reported missing. Multiple agencies searched from the ground, water, and sky, but no sign of Sebastian. After 8 days, search efforts were suspended. In April 2024, the Sumner County Sheriff's Office held its last news conference on the investigation. News News' Caitlin Quisenberry has been covering the case since the beginning. She spoke with Sebastian's father today.
15-year-old Sebastian Rogers has been missing in Sumner County for 3 days.
11 days.
6 months, 10 months.
1 year.
Fast forward to today with now 2 years of no answers. 2 years without Sebastian Rogers.
When I close my eyes, most of the time I'm waking up saying his name because he's there. He's there. I close my eyes and he's there.
So that's the rundown, and hopefully even you viewers have spotted some of the red flags, like the fact that Sebastian vanished completely without a trace even after an intensive, timely, large-scale search.
Okay, guys, and then I want to hear what your thoughts are, Alana and KJ, too, about Seth's statement right there.
I think that was absolutely heartfelt, genuine, and very able to be, I can relate to that.
Same here.
Yeah, I can relate to that. And also, just looking at the interview and the picture you have here, that's picture on the screen now is a bit older. And the one that was just done, you can tell it's wearing on Seth mentally, physically, and health, I'm assuming. I mean, Katie
Oh,
should be doing this.
absolutely. And this is the one, isn't this the one where he was voicing his concerns because he had heard on Smiley's that Sebastian was getting disciplined with the belt?
Yeah, it was something like that was the first time he had noticed or was told that.
Yeah, it's absolutely heartbreaking. And, as a parent, not knowing where your child is, I can see waking up in the middle of the night, saying their name, crying out their name. Um, just heartbreaking. All right, guys, we'll listen in more.
Sebastian was also autistic, which is an exacerbating factor to child abuse and neglect. And he was a stepchild, which is also a risk. The last voice you heard in that clip was Sebastian's biological father, Seth Rogers, who has always spoken innocently ever since I first analyzed him over a year ago, which isn't something I can say for Sebastian's stepfather, Chris Proudfoot. I won't rehash my entire analysis of Chris and Katie Proudfoot. I'll link my entire playlist on the end screen if you want to binge watch that next, but he does make lots of the same mistakes that his wife Katie does. So without further ado, let's pick up where we left off in her new interview.
Let's remind our viewers, remind folks about Sebastian, about who he really is. Not just this case, but about him.
Oh, Sebastian is 15 when he went missing, 17 now. But he has just this beautiful smile. I mean, he's just got a big grin, and he's got a goofy sense of humor, and he loves being helpful, and he enjoys playing video games and building things. I think one of the most recent things we did was that crane that I had shown a while back, but we loved making those little projects like the Lowe's and Home Depot projects and building. And
as you may have noticed, Katie Proudfoot is speaking about Sebastian in the present tense, which is a good thing. When people go missing, their relatives rarely talk about them in the past tense unless there's proof that they've passed. But the concerning thing is Katie's using so much present tense, it doesn't even make sense. For example, she said he is 15 when he disappeared. And I think that's because she's literally overcompensating, because she knows there's a very real risk of her messing up, because she actually does have guilty knowledge, which I pointed out in my video analyzing her first anniversary interview, which I think she watched.
The last time I saw my son was when he went to bed, December 7th. He would have...
Okay, I'm just going to stop it right there, because, I mean, that is one thing that I noticed Katie doing, to be so careful as not to use the past tense, that she was using it inappropriately, present tense inappropriately, in my opinion. What do you guys think?
Absolutely.
Go ahead, Alana.
Seth has never spoken of Sebastian in past tense. Seth has kept everything the same at his house. Between overcompensating or using past tense, it doesn't make sense. In this particular clip he just played, I didn't notice it, but when she's asked the question, she closes her eyes and looks up. So is she having a vision of what happened the last time she saw Sebastian? What happened or what she did to him?
Right.
And I feel like she, just like he said, overcompensating, because there are things that you would normally put in the past tense if you hadn't seen somebody for 2 years. But when she says, like, I don't remember if she said he loves to go hiking with us or something like that. He loved to. That was when you were in California, which was several years ago, even years before he went missing. I don't know exactly when they moved to Tennessee, but it wasn't just before he went missing. So her using that kind of thing in present tense shouldn't be. you know, or he loves to play games with me. No, he loved to play games with you because it's been 2 years and he may have grown out of playing games with you by now, you know? So there are some things that should be in the past tense because she hasn't seen him in 2 years, whether he's alive or not right now.
Oh, absolutely. I agree. And I think just going back, because we've talked about this a lot at this channel when it comes to what they used to do as a family, and everything seems to have been in California. But then when they moved to Tennessee, it's isolate, in my opinion, and take away, withhold love from Katie, because she doesn't have any choice, right? She has to rely on his family, and the new friends that they've possibly made together, or maybe just, I mean, she has Lori, but I think that all of their good times are back in California. I don't think they made as many new memories altogether as they did in California. And I think that's love bombing. And I think that's typical of narcissists.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. So here we go. We'll watch a little bit more. He's always just spot on, though, And then, of course, he has the past tense card here.
He turned 16, and he should be home for that.
That's Katie Proudfoot, and I think she knows what happened to her missing son, Sebastian Rogers. And it's not just because of slip-ups like that where she talks about him in the past tense. Obviously, there's a lot more in that video, and I'll link it below if you want to watch it later. For now, let's get back into Katie's new interview, because that's not the only thing she tried to repair based on feedback from social media.
What do you miss most about not having him around?
Oh God, everything. I miss his smile. I miss telling him to get up in the morning for school and him going, Mom. I miss him making his little jokes. I miss watching him run around with the dogs. I miss all of it, the good, the bad. I miss everything about my son.
What would you say to him if he were to walk through that door?
I would tell him that we love you. I would tell him that we miss you so very much. I would tell him to stay strong. I would tell him to hang in there, and that if he ever had the opportunity to reach out and get a safe adult and, call 911 if you have to, that we're looking and we're never going to stop looking, and that I pray that he's okay, and that everyone at home loves you, Sebastian, and everyone wants you to come home, and we're here.
The question was, what would you say to Sebastian if he were to walk through that door right now? And Katie's answer was basically a bunch of things that I said innocent parents should say to the camera when their kid is missing in an earlier video in this series. Like, if you're watching this right now, mommy and daddy are looking for you, or get to an adult, or get to the police, or try to contact us, which doesn't make sense if the kid has just walked through the door. In that case, I would expect her to say I would go up to him and tell him I love him and ask him where he was. So what's going on here? Well, just like how Katie was overusing present tense earlier, even when it didn't make grammatical sense, I think in her haste to overcompensate for not saying any of those things to the camera in earlier interviews, she's saying them, but not in a place where it makes sense. In other words,
and I absolutely think that Katie watches every single move that all of us make anytime we're covering Sebastian. What do you guys think?
Absolutely. Watching this video, the same questions were asked last year. Like, what will you do if you walk through the door right now? And she still closed her eyes. She closed her eyes and then looked up to the sky. I see that a lot going on here. Last year, it was something like, if I saw him coming through the door, I would bulldoze him down with hugs or something. It was very...
Yes.
That's exactly what she said.
Yeah. And he's so good at picking up on all of this too.
Yeah, and speaking about her watching everything, I remember it was just a few weeks ago at the most, I was in one of your lives, lady, and we were talking about that crane, and I said, I think that it might be one of the projects that they built together, because she said that they liked building little projects with Legos. And
Mhm.
I sent you an email with the picture of that crane, like from Target or something like that. It was an advertisement. Now all of a
Oh, I
sudden
must
she
have
brings it up, and she's never talked about it before. It was always just sitting there. And I think it
wow.
was Detroit that said that picture was on a dresser in their old home. And she now
Mhm.
says it's one of the last projects they ever did together, which they moved into this home in what, September of 22? There,
Yes, I believe
it was on
so.
the dresser in a picture at their old house. So if she hasn't done a project with him since before 22, I mean, it just shows she's not spending a lot of time with them, if that's what he likes to do.
Right. It shows that they haven't had, that quality time she talks about in quite a while, you know? That's what's mind-boggling to me, because she has to make things up
Mm-hmm.
instead of being genuine. Lover Girl says, I totally agree, Lady Freedom. I think she watches all the time, and I think she's tried to adjust her answers specifically based on what Deception Detective has said about her. I believe that. I mean, she's almost checking off all the boxes, but she didn't answer the question, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's not what was asked.
Well, I do wonder if possibly there was a mess up in the editing of that video, and maybe they took out everything that she actually did say in response to that question, and they put it back together wrong. I don't know. I'd like to
There is
find out.
editing. There's terrible editing in this video. I watched it, the interview itself prior to coming on. She starts to say something, and then you can tell the sentence is cut.
Cut off. Yeah,
Mhm.
I noticed that too. So editing is a big one because, they do also tell the person that they're interviewing basically what they're going to be asking them. So they're prepared, they're not caught off guard by any of the questions. Um, but then also, they edit the video. That could have been, an hour long that they edited into 27 minutes type thing.
Yes.
And that bothers me because editing is cutting out what she said because they don't like it.
Right.
She has never, he kind of started to mention it, she's never given a heartfelt beg to come home. It should have been something like, Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, this is your mother. I don't know if you're missing, but you are missing. If you can get to a nearest phone, call 911, tell them you're missing from Tennessee, honey, or get to the closest police station, hospital, tell them your name, Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, that you're missing, and you need to call your father or mother. There has never been a plea like that.
I agree. I mean, I've seen several, even more than several from Seth, right? Almost every time he has a chance. And I agree with Deception Detective as well. The first thing you would probably say if you didn't know where your son was for 2 years and he walked through the door, you would say, where have you been, son? We've been looking for you. Oh my God, we missed you. Not we miss you. Stay strong. I mean, she really messed up there big time, and that's something that everyone has mentioned that has done a review of her interview.
Mm-hmm.
She's guilty and they have to be scripted so she doesn't slip. She's never done a true plea like Seth has done. It's not genuine, and she only says what she's been told she can say.
Exactly. Yeah, and she's very careful, and again, so scripted in my opinion. It's just so scripted. I'm just going to back up just a little bit because I
Yep.
stopped in a weird spot.
Not in a place where it makes sense. In other words, she seems to be tripping over herself in order to live up to the things that I, or maybe it's another YouTuber who she's watching, say innocent parents do in these interviews. And yes, I know how conceited that sounds when I say I think Katie is watching my videos and trying to adjust what she says in interviews in order to match my criteria. But here's the thing, later in this interview, she actually lifts something I said in one of my videos literally word for word. So let's pause here since we're about halfway through it. And if you want to continue this analysis, let me know by liking, commenting, and sharing, and make sure to hit the hype button if it's available. Check the end screen for my Sebastian Rogers playlist because I think Katie Proudfoot and Chris Proudfoot have both watched it. Until next time, stay true.
I would have liked more.
I know, I wanted more too. I was just about to say that. I wanted him to do the whole interview, right? But I was like, oh, but I do like the way he sets it up for the next one. Because I think that he will absolutely continue on. And I'm trying to think of what she said word for word for something that he has said, because I've watched all of his videos on Sebastian, that he's done.
Does anybody know what that might have been? Well, he
I have
didn't.
so much memory of
do it
Sebastian. I
in the
can't
wrong.
tell you. So much written down. I'm sorry.
I know, I can't think of what it would be other than, I'm not sure. I'm just not sure.
Something
Well,
we
we
didn't
can.
touch on.
What's
What
that?
about Katie going in like angry and demanding the video from Texas Roadhouse?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
once she
that was
heard
really
at night got
something.
it, someone got it on Seth's team. She was pissed, excuse my language, but so mad that she ran in there angry.
Yeah, I can't for the life of me figure out why she would be angry or want that video, especially because she was the one that was there, other than that she probably wanted to watch herself and brace herself for what was to come, in my opinion.
Unfortunately for Katie Proudfoot, allegedly in my opinion, this is never going away. They're never going to have peace.
Until her last breath.
Exactly. Their own county indirectly spoke that they are guilty and they don't believe by voting no to indict on Bullhorn Betty. That speaks enough. They had to give sworn written statements, and there was some testimony and stuff like that from Andra. But at the end of the day, when they held it over to the grand jury, they voted no. And I think that's like, if you read it between the lines, a lot of people in that county believe they're guilty.
I agree.
But why is there
Yeah.
not more footage? I mean, I don't know if she's there very often. I don't know how often she's there or for how long, but it surprised me when that one video came, or those photos came out of her at the face waxing place, that there hasn't been a whole lot more of that.
Lot more of what?
Of people
Hassling it?
taking photos and getting them out to us.
Oh, they get them out.
Oh, yeah.
There's been several people. You just have to, more so on Bullhorn Betty's, but there are other channels that when they get footage, they post it.
Yeah, because I saw that on TikTok. I believe it was Cognizance and Crime, excuse me, that did that. Or that posted the most recent one of her going to the salon.
Other thing I was told from a resident there, Sumner County, Hendersonville, is it's said, I guess it's rumor, but that they are never gonna get new vehicles. They're gonna drive them into the ground and then burn them on some property that first generation builder, their family building company. And I said, why would they do that? Not thinking, because there's some type of DNA or something in there. why wouldn't they have already changed vehicles so people wouldn't recognize them when they're driving? Or if they are following people, why haven't they got a new vehicle so you're not as noticeable?
Right, exactly. Because I think everybody knows what, I mean, obviously, it was in the Texas Roadhouse footage. We know what they drive. We know that because Kathy and Terry were following JLR, we knew that they had the what is it, Q80X or something like that. I'm horrible with
QX80, I think. Yeah.
QX80. Thank you. So we know what they drive because they've been caught on camera, but they're like so bold. It's like they don't care.
Yeah.
Maybe they're above the law.
I think they think they are, but that was one question that I had for Craddock was why would you give up all of your hard work just to cover for these two,
That's a really good question, in my opinion. He could lose everything. But what I really want to know is who can investigate them. I mean, things go back and forth, just like you were talking about with him saying he's not sure or he's not going to say that Sebastian was barefoot. That makes him look like a real officer of the law that's not taking up for anybody. And then you've got him appearing to not be doing anything and calling CPS, saying that they have to call CPS. But when they say I have to, does that kind of sounds apologetic,
Right.
At the same time, I mean, I go back and forth on what this sheriff's office is doing. Are they in it to do the right thing and protect and serve, or are they there to further their own wants and desires?
Well, and what do you guys think about the warrant that was supposedly served a little over after a year?
Well, they were all in court April of last year when it was held over to grand jury. Supposedly when they were testifying, there was a warrant and they searched their house or something while they were at the courthouse.
Oh, okay. So that was when they were at the courthouse. So nobody was home when they did that.
Yeah, and a lot of the channels were saying, oh, it was just about the hearing today and Bullhorn Betty. But it's come out since that just recently, I forget who it was, told me at the rally. They were really searching.
Yeah, I mean, and then also to find out that apparently there was a camera in Faith's bedroom.
That's weird.
I think that is so strange, right? Because
I know
mean,
why, because Chris Proudfoot is preoccupied with Sebastian's bathroom habits, his private, his pooping, whatever, that he's afraid Sebastian is going to do something to Faith.
But this
Wow.
camera was supposed to have been
That's
installed
just my opinion.
after.
Why else? I mean, why would you just get a baby monitor and you have one, not a super duper expensive one that you can just hear in the room? Because Chris was
Right.
paranoid that Sebastian was going to do something to Faith.
See,
But
and I
That's
thought they
all
were
I can
installed.
make
Oh,
of
sorry,
that.
go ahead.
I
Well, they
said
were
that's all I
saying-
can make of that. It all comes down to Chris's paranoia about Sebastian and his privates and his bathroom habits.
Yeah, like
crazy.
Lover Girl 2727 is saying right here, from what I've heard, those cameras were installed after Sebastian went missing. So is he afraid that Sebastian's going to come back in and do something to Faith? Because Sebastian had already disappeared by that point.
Are you saying that you heard prior to Sebastian going missing that there were cameras or a camera
No.
in Faith's room?
It was after. I heard these were put in after.
Yes, that those 3 cameras that they supposedly removed, allegedly, were all installed after Sebastian went missing.
Well, then, yeah, maybe he thinks Sebastian's going to creep back into Faith's room and hurt her. I don't know. Sounds crazy, but
I know. I'm wondering if he's just a control freak, you know, and he just wanted to see that she was, or maybe just for show, you know, like, oh, so we think something had happened to Sebastian in our house, so we want to put cameras in Faith's room in case somebody tries to come in and take her, or something like that, you know.
Or maybe he doesn't trust Katie.
And maybe he does. Well, and that was another thing that we had talked about too. Yeah, about him. Maybe he didn't trust Katie. And then if he's on the road and Faith is there with her alone, some people even speculated that maybe Nina wanted the cameras to be in there so she could have access and things like that. But I heard that wasn't the case.
Mm.
But Brenda says, yeah, maybe he didn't trust Katie.
then why would you
And
have
love
your
the girl, yeah.
wife go and pick her up?
I mean, I just don't even know how the New Mexico courts are allowing for him to have unsupervised time like he does.
No, they haven't been cleared, no matter what he says.
Right, and you know, YouTubers here says, in my opinion, CPS would not approve of that camera.
Yeah,
good
you're
point.
not supposed to have them in their rooms. Like, but you can get like walkie-talkies, like baby monitors. I'm surprised that's in
Right.
there.
So you can hear what's going, like that would make more sense to me, so you could hear what's going on rather than seeing, because what if she's trying to dress, or you know, something like that, or you know, I mean, you just think you're in the privacy of your bedroom, so I mean, you're less modest than you would be, and I just don't think it's right to put cameras in a little girl's room like that.
And for the father to be looking at, I don't know. She's young, but to me, it's weird.
It's absolutely weird, and just
Now, if it was Nina or a mother, I could see that. If Nina did that at home, I can see that. But for him to do it, and he doesn't spend much time with her, I always wondered if it's none of my business, if Chris Proudfoot, even when he doesn't have her on vacations and holidays, does he fly down to visit her? Because school vacations and holidays are very short, you know? How much is he really involved?
Right.
I mean, I think that's a good question. You know, 5D put out a really good video today. I was gonna share it because I think it's only like 12 minutes. If you guys don't mind, because I'd
No.
like to. I think
fine
it's
with me.
interesting. Well,
I think I
great.
saw
Yeah,
it
because
too.
I think it's interesting, and I hate to change like our trajectory, but I just think that like when it comes to everything that's happened, I'm just so surprised that that Katie and Chris were not taken in for questioning right away. Right, just right off the bat, and he did a great did a great comparison about another case where the parents were trying to say something that was so similar to what Chris and Katie were saying. So let me play this for you guys, because I'd love to hear both of your thoughts on this.
Detectives questioned the couple on what happened the night Elijah went missing. And what they're listening for is any clue as to where Elijah might be.
So you get up to use the bathroom. You went over to Elijah's room and
I peeked my head around the corner and he wasn't there. I went to wake him up for school Monday morning. And that's when he went in here. So what I usually do is I walk down to the lake and see if he's there, because sometimes he'll be sitting on the bench. And then I walk up to the driveway in the little dome. And I jumped in my car and I drove around the neighborhood.
That
and I
is
drove
what I'm
over by the
talking about.
school, and
She'll
he's
correct
already.
herself now.
And then I walk up and down the street, but he wasn't there.
Yes, that moment right there. I'll go
She
back.
taps on the table.
Yeah, she does. She does. And it's exactly, well, here's the cutthroat
Yeah,
gesture.
that's what I was talking about. And with this interview and the hands interview, if you know, Chris had bite marks or whatever, but if you look at Chris's hands in this one, in the green one, light green, his hands look like murderer's hands. They're creepy, they're eerie. They look, I don't know. His hands just creep me out. That may sound weird, but
Oh no, it does me too. The sausage fingers completely. Completely. Yeah, it's a great comparison. This little boy Elijah Lewis. You know, I'm not saying it's direct, but I think it's so spot on to what they've said. You know, I think that it absolutely speaks to having guilty knowledge.
I mean, but honestly, I think that look, I just used the word. I think that we could use a whole bunch of different cases. I bet if somebody did a comparison between Summer Wells and Sebastian, you would find a lot of similarities. I've heard different cases that it's similar to. So, I mean, in the end, we're all humans that cannot make a perfect crime, and they're going to have things in common.
Right, exactly. Well, and I have done, I even did a video that was asking, do you guys think that Chris and Katie went after the Don and Candace playbook kind of thing, because there's so many similarities there, and then also with little James Hutchinson. But the difference here is that they actually brought these parents in and interrogated them by themselves, you know, and they were able to you know, quickly see that they were not being truthful.
Right. And we don't know if they've done that with these people or not. They haven't told us.
Exactly. Exactly. Hey, Seth, good to see you. Thank you for being here.
Hi, Seth.
Hey, Seth, how are you?
Yeah, so I mean, I just think, I mean, this is a very good comparison. And then, of course, I forgot about that they even put this in here. So,
And then I walk up to the driveway in the little dome, and I jumped in my car and I drove around the neighborhood, and I drove over by the school, and he's already. And then I walk up and down the street, but he wasn't there. And I turned around, came back in, and he was like, "Go back to the house. They're on their way." And I ran back, drove back to the house.
There it is.
Yep. There it is.
And I woke Joe up and I said, "Elijah's gone." The feelings that you were feeling. To censor myself. Holy freaking crap, this can't be happening. Where is my kid? Choice words were used.
Yeah, and even that face she makes there.
When the rolling eyes.
Yeah.
You know what?
I mean,
I was going to say something. In her interviews, in those eyes, there are a couple times in the early on interview, I think they were in like their dining room facing the kitchen. She's in the white and black shirt, and she looks down to the right. That sometimes can mean she's having flashbacks of what happened or PTSD. She also does it in the camper video with Nancy Grace. Just to point it out.
Oh, right. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and she said that she had a picture of Sebastian sitting there that she was looking at, and that's why she was looking down and over. But she never bothered to show the world Sebastian's picture.
Because she's a liar, and there was no picture. This could have been resolved very easily. Katie could have turned Sebastian over to Seth, or she could have surrendered Sebastian at any CPS office. We wouldn't be here today.
Yeah, especially because they were so heavily involved.
All she would have to say is, I can't do it anymore. Can you take him? I'm sure if she asked Seth that, he would have done it with no problem. Quicker than CPS.
Yeah, or tell
but I
CPS
feel
the
like
truth that, he's got a father that loves him and, I can't wait we were going to wait till May for him to go live over there. I just still can't believe that CPS didn't know about Seth or notify him or,
That's a disgrace.
It is.
Yes, it
It's
is.
an epic fail. Yeah.
But I
Hey,
think that
Jen.
there was a lot of pride and ego.
Oh, a lot. Oh, yes. And I
And
think that Katie liked having that control over Seth, in my opinion. She wanted to hurt him.
She's a sick lady. Very sick. I hope every child after Sebastian, if she has any, is removed from her care and custody.
Yeah, again, I can't believe that they even let Faith be in that house. Because I can't imagine how scary. Yeah, she's got to be scared.
Must be scared for the month or weeks that she's there.
Yeah, and Scranton says, Alana, in my opinion, the point was not just sending Sebastian away, it was silencing him.
That too.
Yeah, and I mean, I even showed a video yesterday where we talked about how January 29th, there was supposed to be a review of the CPS records per the family courts.
And that was my first thought, that when I heard about this case and heard that there was a custody case going on, was that this was done so the case wouldn't be ruined or something. Again, going back to the silencing. Children usually go missing when there's a custody issue, whether it's directly or indirectly related to them.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and I think there's a lot to be said there. I mean, that's a great point. All right, here we go, guys. So here's more of Katie's statements. Oh,
Like, where the F is he?
Another interrogation room.
Where the
Joseph's
F is
staff is
he?
telling his story.
let me just back up just a little bit.
Choice words were used. Like, where the F is he?
Another interrogation room. Joseph's
That
staff
also
is
was-
telling his story. The issue is, it's not entirely matching up with what Dauphinese has been saying.
You woke up in the middle of the night and looked in his room and saw that he was gone, or did you hear something that made you wake up?
I just saw that he was gone.
So both you and Danielle saw it?
I told her, yeah.
So what happens next? What do you do next? What did you do?
We just look for him.
You went out and looked for him?
Where do you go? The same spots where he's been before.
I was like, is he on the other side of the bed? The normal places he may be in the house, and
Right off the bat, there was a discrepancy in their discussions with the police concerning who discovered that he was missing. Daphne said it was her, staff said it was him. So pretty early on, the police started to piece together that one or both of them were not telling the truth.
That's the predicament that we're in. Not that you're not being truthful, not that you're not being truthful, but you can't both be being truthful.
How about the door to the outside of the house?
It was cracked. I don't know why he walked out that door.
Okay.
I thought about that.
When you say this,
It was
like
cracked open,
cracked
yeah.
like an inch, is that what you're showing?
I inch or two.
I mean, it's just uncanny. Just the way that their statements just kind of match up. Yeah. Again,
Isn't that-
reminds me of James Hutchinson's case.
In that picture, in Olivia's interview, I think they cut it out or I missed it. She uses her hands and says she checked the house 3 minutes flat. That was another one of her statements. I don't know if you remember that. Looking for
Yes.
Sebastian.
yeah, and one it was 1 minute, and another one it was 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And she was
kept changing
crying
it.
at his. I'm sorry.
No,
and
you're
saying-
good. I just said she just kept changing it,
Yeah, and saying she was screaming and crying and she was hysterical, at which point Chris coughed, by the way. But if she was screaming and crying and hysterical after 5 minutes, don't you think that would have multiplied immensely by the time it was 20 days, like on the Chronicles of Olivia?
Oh, definitely.
How in the world is she sitting there straight faced, no tears, her voice isn't cracking. It's just so matter of fact. It's just
Oh, I know.
unbelievable to me.
Well, and she's saying choice words were used, like where the F is he? Like it's so vastly different from her first story, her first stories that she gave, even in the Hands interview and everything. This one, she's, Katie wearing, her personality's changed. She's wearing the Harley Davidson t-shirt and choice words were used and, holy freaking crap and, all of this weird stuff. Yeah. Yeah, it's just very odd. Just the whole thing, her different accents and personalities.
Snicks.
So do you think that after he went out that night, you think that he turned around and closed the door behind him?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Because I don't see it.
And I don't know if anyone knows something.
Daphne says, it's very typical that Elijah would just wander off or leave. And she said that she found the sliding door slightly ajar, maybe an inch or so opened, and that he just slipped out in there. And we all know as adults, the sliding glass doors are heavy and they can be difficult for adults to move, much less a 5-year-old child in the middle of the night.
Is the door open? Is the door closed? Yeah, it's open. The door is open. About how much is it open?
If it was like open like a foot or so.
Yeah.
So Danielle was telling us the exact opposite. You can't both be right. You know what I mean?
By that time, detectives have been questioning these two for hours, and still there are no solid answers. So basically, they've had enough.
Eli didn't just walk out. We know that. We know that he didn't just walk out. And I know that you're scared, and I don't want you to continue to go down a rabbit hole. Why do you guys think that he didn't walk out? I don't understand it. Because we've searched everywhere. We've searched everywhere. It's not our fault that he ran away. But he didn't just run away. We firmly believe that he didn't just run away. He would have been located by now. Are you guys thinking that we did something to this boy? I don't think that he just walked out the door. Why? Because we've had every resource imaginable look for him.
It was the largest manhunt in Tennessee history.
I can only imagine that these detectives were just feeling so incredibly frustrated, because how could these two people who supposedly cared for him, how could they not be ready, willing, and able to say everything they know to try to get that child back?
So we've been working around the clock since last Thursday with a massive team of investigators, the best investigators in the state and in all of New England, looking for your son. What tactics do you think that we should be employing, or where should we be looking
I don't know.
him?
I don't know.
There's answers to questions that have no answers, or questions with no answer.
Who do you think he is?
I have no idea. We did not hurt that little boy, and I do not appreciate you saying that we did.
I'm not saying that you did.
No one hurt that little boy.
And listen to this mother, the distancing language. We did not hurt that little boy. And Katie has said on multiple occasions and called Sebastian that boy.
Yep. And Chris, that young man, the young man.
Yeah, and then also, Chris distanced himself from his own wife and Sebastian, calling her the mom many times. Yeah, I know, Shauna, the effing little boy is really what she said, right? She's like, do what? Yeah. Yep. Crazy.
No one hurt that little boy. We are not monsters.
I'm not this criminal. I'm not this monster that everybody wants to believe.
We are very good people. We are very nice.
I am direct. I am brash, but I am very respectful.
Our kids are well taken care of. We will not hurt our kids.
And you and your husband had nothing to do
No,
with his disappearance?
no, we did not.
When a concerned parent becomes defensive and frustrated with the police who are trying to help her child, that's not a normal or typical response. Her almost hostility towards the police while they're trying to do an investigation on behalf of her and her child.
Heather, I came by yesterday. Hi, Katie. What can I do for you? Are you the woman that trespassed my property yesterday? I actually didn't. I walked down your neighbor's property and then down the easement and then up the other That's not side. an easement. I own that. That's my property. Well, the fence says no trespassing. I didn't come on the property. That is my property. The easement, that's a public I easement. own it. It's mine. I own it. I am here to try to clear you. I don't need you to clear me. So I don't know why you're being defensive with me.
Okay, so can I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
First, can you identify yourself?
Yeah, I did already. My name's Heather, private investigator.
But you're coming to my house. And
I am. I'm investigating the disappearance of your stepson. So do you want him found or no? Because if you do, then why would you have a problem with me coming to talk to you guys? Between houses is not usually. I own it. I own half, my neighbors own half, period.
Certainly would have been a red flag for the police that she knew a lot more than what she was giving up at that time.
She's confirming, without confirming, there were suspicions about what happened to this little boy.
Finally, police get a breakthrough in the search for Elijah. But unfortunately, it is the news that they have been dreading from the start.
This morning, state police cadaver dog and MSP special emergency response team members located what's presumed to be Elijah Lewis's body buried in the ground.
I think the TBI said it best. They've been nothing but cooperative with law enforcement since day one of this investigation. There is no evidence to support foul play on the part of Sebastian's parents.
An autopsy will be performed tomorrow here in Massachusetts at the Chief Medical Examiner's office. And once we have a determination of cause and manner of death, we'll be examining all of our facts that we've gathered in the investigation and determining what, if any, further charges will be brought.
Elijah Lewis's body is found about an hour and a half from his home. And as soon as they lay eyes on him, the horrific reality of what he's been through becomes crystal clear.
Elijah's 19-pound body, which was bruised and battered and bloodied, was found in a state park in Abington, Massachusetts, buried in a very shallow grave.
The results of the autopsy of Elijah Lewis are horrible. He died of severe violence and neglect. He had facial and scalp injuries.
Poor little Elijah. I just feel so horrible for this poor little boy. And I do remember this case. Yeah. And Shauna says, she's not heard of this case. It's just so absolutely sad. Hey, Jilly, it's oh gosh, unbelievable. But the police did the right thing here. This is what needs to happen, right? You can't just take people's words for it. That they're good people. You have to investigate. In Detroit, he does say crystal clear. Oh, go ahead, Lana. Go ahead.
Any other state, Katie and Christopher Proudfoot would be held on child abuse charges or out on bail.
I agree.
Any Florida, Massachusetts, Connecticut, you name it, Michigan, Washington. I just don't understand it. I go over it and over it every night before my prayers. What other reason could it be? They're getting off because the Bowersox are paying? I mean, I don't know. What would be another answer?
I think that is spot on because, I mean, they have paid, allegedly paid for playground equipment in order to get more time with Faith. I mean,
I remember that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, anywhere else, you just don't think it would fly. I mean, you were talking about two parents who, well, arguably, who were responsible for this child and when he was in their care. And you would think that they would be questioned separately at the very beginning because they really lost all of that time, you know?
They didn't follow the criteria for the missing children and missing, I can't think of it, it's too late, the National Missing Person and Children, not foundation. The
National Center for Missing and Exploited Children,
Yes,
yeah.
there you go. I couldn't remember exploited. They didn't
It's
follow
okay.
this on this pace. That house, nobody should have been able to go in. Once Katie called, or Chris called the sheriff's office, they should have come out of that house, waited for them outside, and that should have been cordoned off. Because who knows how much evidence was lost there. I heard they never even did luminol.
I heard the same thing. Well, and I mean, that was according to Chris and Katie. They told Smiley that, they didn't do any fingerprinting, any dusting for fingerprints. That's another thing that Betty had mentioned as well, that there was no fingerprinting or finger dusting for fingerprints, excuse me, because oftentimes they will wipe away the fingerprints. So if there's no prints there, it shows that perhaps somebody got rid of them because there should be fingerprints on there, right? Of Sebastian using that door, of any of them using the code that had the code.
Yeah, no, bringing up the code early on, I went on the premise that he made it home before additional stuff came out. And usually it's someone in the immediate family. And I said to myself, who is in the immediate family that the Proudfoots would give the code to the front door or the garage to?
CB.
We know the Bowersox have it because when they escaped to Mississippi Horn Lake, they had the Bowersox come over and check their property and everything. I think JLR caught that on when they were pulling out. Who would he go with willingly if he made it back home? Whoever has a code to that house in their family.
Right.
Yeah,
And
the problem is,
they should have there should be fingerprints, right? There just should be fingerprints on there of any of them using it. Mainly Sebastian, because I know that they said that he was the one that typically would use that door. He would always like to go in the front door. We did hear from the neighbor as well, that she witnessed Sebastian go up and try to go into the door on Saturday after Costco, and he couldn't get in.
so
did
like
they
they've changed the code.
Right. Yeah, I'm thinking, did they change the code? Because Sebastian using it all the time, he wouldn't forget, and he had no problem, according to the neighbor, getting into the house on Friday after school about around 3:00. So
Yeah, and why leave blankets and food outside for him if he's got the code?
that
made
was
me
another
laugh.
big one. Yeah. Yep, that was a big one. That was a big one. Thanks, Jen. Thank you. Jen says, I love the vibe tonight in the panel. Hugs and kisses. I love you, Lady Freedom. Aw, thank you, Jen. I love you too. And thank you. Yeah, our panel has been great. Ladies, you have been awesome. Just, wonderful bits of knowledge and, just sharing your opinions. I've loved hearing your perspective.
Thank you.
Yes.
It also
Yeah,
was shortly after that, they had a cleaning crew come in and deeply clean that house. I think
Yes.
while they were at Horn Lake or shortly after Easter when they came back.
Let's find out who that was.
Yeah, I do remember when people were saying that. And, who has the house profession? Arguably, maybe they were distraught. They, they had to have the house cleaned because they hadn't cleaned it because they've been so distraught. But I don't think that's the case. I think they had it professionally cleaned to get rid of any evidence.
Absolutely. Because it goes back to whoever, if he made it home, whoever has the code to that house. And my thinking when I was thinking that as well, so who went in and got him out of his, if it was out of his bed and he didn't run out of the house, who would he trust to go with?
Well, that's the thing because I don't think he would just go with anyone, that he didn't know. I think Sebastian had the wherewithal to understand that, for one, that wouldn't be something his parents would want him to do. But other than that, I mean, I just don't think that he would have. I think he would have been very reluctant for fear of, getting in trouble by his parents. Most parents will tell you don't get into cars with people that you don't know, and that sort of
Run.
thing.
I was told as a child, run. If someone pulls up to you, or run, try to get to a safe person.
Right, exactly. Or ignore the person, keep walking, pretend like you're not, but yeah, run because they could get out of the car and just grab you up, and when somebody's small, it's easier for them to get snatched up. This is a good question too. Detroit says, why was CB at Warsham's at 5:45 a.m.? What was Lori doing there so early, right before Seth even got there? And how did his sister know about Sebastian before anyone else?
So
I mean, those
that's a compounded question, but if I can take it, I believe maybe Kathy was there to get whatever was in Katie's car when she was driving around pretending to look for Sebastian, because if you're in her neighborhood and you make a right and then get to the main street, you make a left, the school's on the left, and shortly down there, if you make another left at the light, Warsham's is there. I was also told they had a storage bin there. And I also know that a bloody we don't know if it looked like bodily fluids was on a mattress pad that was disposed there. One of the searchers found that mattress pad and didn't have a way to transport it. And I don't know if they called Katie or Chris, but somehow one of Chris's friends named Charlie, I don't remember the last name, took that and said he was going to bring it down to the sheriff's office.
Charlie Briley, yeah.
Yes.
Well, and Erin found that mattress pad, and they told her like, oh, well, that's not what we were looking for. That's not something, that's
they
not
told her
part of what
something,
they're
so
looking.
Charlie was going to transport it, but then it was never seen again. So I'm wondering if wherever Sebastian was transferred, if it was right there, because that's their storage bin is over there, supposedly.
Yeah, I heard that as well.
I don't know. I think it's really strange that she drove around by the school and stuff, though, because as I found the other day, you can drive through the high school parking lot and you can turn by the middle school and go all the way back there and come out by Warsham's. And it's really a question about if that's what she was actually doing and just pretending that she was looking for him in the school parking lot.
Well, and she could have threw stuff in the river too, because I mean, there's a big river or waterway behind
Drake's
Warsham's
Creek
as well.
leads to the river or something like that.
Yeah.
And that would be Drake's Creek, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
I believe
I
so.
forget how it goes, but at one end of Drake's Creek, further down, it ends up going into the Cumberland River, maybe? I forget the river
Maybe,
name.
yeah.
Yeah, it all flows out to the Cumberland. Yeah. It sure does. And that's a big reason why we searched over there again, because, the hot spots matched up and Also because, you know, everything had flooded out. I mean, there was a lot of reasons to do that too. And hey, Polly's Cookies, good to see you. So yeah, unbelievable, you know.
Jen
Yeah, and I
said,
agree, Jen. You know, Sebastian
yeah,
doesn't always have to be deceased in our theories. No, and I mean, I just too. I'm working on a video also, because even though we have these case comparisons, there's also case comparisons where we have a positive outcome as well. You know,
Yeah,
where
I'm trying
yeah,
not to lose hope. You know, there've been so many kids that have been taken from their bedroom or snatched up um, from walking home from school. You have Abigail Hernandez. You have Elizabeth Smart. Is it Jesse Dugan out in California? You have the three that were rescued after like 15 or 20 years, 15 maybe. Um, that House of Horrors in Cleveland, Ohio, and they were missing for so
yes,
long. There is hope. We just have to keep it that Sebastian will return alive. There are cases that show. I believe Abigail Hernandez was gone 9 months, and Elizabeth was gone 9 months. And so you never know how this can look, but you also have to take into consideration statistics and anything else, you know.
yeah, and they just found that little girl also after 2 years, and they brought the U.S. Marshals in to assist, as well as TBI and the Metro Nashville Police. Also, it you know, all work together to bring that young lady home. And I will point to Gina DeJesus in the Cleveland Three, the House of Horrors in Cleveland there. Her mother always said that she'd come home, and it just reminds me of the same faith and hope that Seth has, that Sebastian will come home eventually. He will be found.
I have
And
that same
so
faith and hope.
yeah, I mean, I think we all do. I think it's just one of those things where there's a lot of cases that we can really compare these statements, and I think across the board, it just shows that they all had guilty knowledge of the situation when they're acting in the same manner, whether the outcome is the most negative or the most positive scenario, you know?
Yeah.
And we
Uh,
also had another, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt,
no,
another
go
thing.
for it.
Early
Yeah.
on, they were talking about Sebastian's medication. I know
Mhm.
two of the ones he was on are the ones that my son is on. And one of them is very strong. And I had heard, I forget where, that they had just increased it not too long before that. That medication is taken at night normally, and it knocks a person out. But it knocks a person out even deeper in sleep if it's been increased. So I also have wondered,
Right.
did she give Sebastian that pill in the garage or before getting there, maybe not on camera? So by the time you eat, because eating helps your stomach and everything, your bloodstream absorb that, that by the time they started driving, he was out of sleep, and then they transferred him.
Right. I think
Good
that
point.
that would make sense as well. I mean, and even Lovergirl says it's weird. 6 people told Chloe PI they saw Kathy's car at Warsham's, and Kathy claimed not to show up at the Proudfoot's house to search until 10:30. What was she doing for 4.5 hours?
There are
I mean,
answers to questions that have no answers.
yeah, I mean, oh my goodness, it makes you wonder, right? And especially because then we have a post from Melissa saying that they started or they had been searching since 6:30 a.m.
She's a
And that was
wackadoodle.
she
She's crazy.
I agree.
She's like, she's very short, gives good dirty looks. Is always like looking to have a verbal altercation, or she looks evil, just like her mother, in my opinion.
Right. And, Jen says, I've heard that theory and it's possible because Kathy was seen at Beach Market, Worshams, by 3 different people who did not know one another. And why wouldn't the police find out who saw that firsthand? That's where I'm at with that.
Yeah. Supposedly they never got footage from Beach Market.
No, they said they didn't get any footage but then again, they had a co-op of people that were allowing to, give their Ring camera access to Worsham. So, yeah, it's just almost unbelievable that they had no footage of anybody being there when 3 people saw it. So, all right, guys, let's watch a little bit more of 5D here. And big shout out to 5D.
Acute fentanyl intoxication, malnourishment, pressure ulcers, and his death is ruled a homicide.
Police are now investigating, and they obtain a search warrant for the home. And that's when they find the blood and the drugs and the signs of abuse. Police are starting to ask about people's cell phones and their text messages. Danielle would text Joe after she got frustrated with Elijah, and she punished him, tortured him. She, at one point, texted him a photo of Elijah's face that had been bruised up. She'd clearly been beating him, and she texted, "Look at this kid's face." Joe Staff, he wasn't an innocent bystander. He would text back like, "Yeah, that kid's a POS, big time." They would text how much they hated him.
He was beaten in the bathroom, and his head was banged against the shower tile wall with such force that his head broke the shower tiles in their bathroom. She beat him to the point of unconsciousness, and she left him in the bathtub, unconscious, bleeding. When Staff came home, Elijah was actually still alive. And rather than calling 911 or getting someone to take them to the hospital, Staff bandaged Elijah's head and put Elijah into his bed. And that's where Elijah passed away at some point during the night. What is particularly chilling, just bone chilling, is that when Daphne learned that Elijah had died, she put in a text message to Staff celebrating his death.
I mean, if something tragic happens in people's lives, you should take the time to mourn, think, whatever. But at the same time, you have to get up and move on.
And saying, well, now we can be free. We're freed of this child, of this problem, essentially.
Our thoughts are with Eli's family and the entire Merrimack community. I'm glad and relieved that we were able to bring some closure to this part of the ongoing investigation, and most importantly, help bring Eli home with some dignity.
Obviously, a little boy is gone. Nobody deserved to die this way, and we need to make sure we do everything in our power to make sure we can get justice for this little boy.
It has been 6 months since Elijah's body was found. And that is when Danielle Dauphinais is officially indicted on charges of first and second degree murder. And this is when prosecutors start piecing together what really happened after he seemingly disappeared.
At 3 p.m. on October the 14th, DCYF reported to the Merrimack Police Department that Elijah was missing. At 3:16 p.m., the defendant was on the phone with the Merrimack Police Department, telling them that she would meet them at the police department by 4:30 that afternoon. At 3:20 that afternoon, the defendant and Mr. Staff withdraw money from Joanne Staff's account with Elijah's body in the back of their pickup truck.
When Dauphinais and Staff realized that the police were investigating and questioning Elijah's whereabouts, they originally told the police they would come in voluntarily to the station to be questioned. rather than going to the police station as they had promised, they got $1,000 out of the bank.
She and Joseph load Elijah's body into their truck, along with everything he owned, which wasn't much. We're talking maybe a blanket, some comic books, and a stuffed Spider-Man doll.
At 4:44 p.m., the defendant and Mr. Staff were at Target in Burlington, Massachusetts to buy their new phones and some new clothing and toiletries for their flight. Elijah's body in the back of the truck at the Target.
They buy cash cell phones, but then they load up their Facebook account into the cell phone, thereby linking it to them and making it easy to track.
Between 11:36 and 11.
Okay, guys, and I just want to pop in and say really quick too that these are the kinds of mistakes that people make. They think they're being slick, right? They go and buy a burner phone and then they link their accounts to the burner phone, which makes it not so much of a burner phone anymore, right? Because you could tell if the police check into it that's happened. Do you guys have anything to add there?
I was just thinking about when Chris said you have to get up and move on. When a child is missing, or in a horrible case that tragic that a child has died, you don't just get up and move on. You can't tell people their grief is over. It's their own. They own it. It's going to be different from Chris's. It's going to be different from Seth. It's going to be different if it's missing or runaway than it would be for someone who lost their child through tragic circumstances. So that just caught my eye a little bit. He's telling people, Katie, you just have to get up and move on. Like Sebastian doesn't mean anything to him, and he thinks Katie is unaffected by it. You just get up and move on. But Katie, your son's missing. How can you go to work and function and do what you need to do to live when you know your son is missing? This is where it really angers me. Also, a little related to a previous thing I mentioned, kind of into this. Chris, as I said, told Seth in the early days that what if this goes south? Meaning if something terrible happened to Sebastian. But he also said people have taken this out of different contexts. Chris told Seth, go to church to find Sebastian.
Right.
Well, when do you go to church for a person if you're not going weekly?
And Seth was going to church like all the time. I remember him telling Pascal he needed to go to church, and checking to make sure Pascal was going to church. I mean,
did he ever give an interview with Pascal that I missed?
Not Chris, but just Seth. Seth Yeah, he was telling Pascal, hey, I went to church today. How about you? Type of a thing, and
But from Chris telling Seth, go to church to find Sebastian, that's kind of eerie to me.
Oh, very much so. And I think a lot of people found it to be very creepy. I mean, just creepy, saying if you want to find Sebastian, go to church. I mean, what does that mean? But I think he was trying to be cryptic.
It was a cryptic message.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. What do you think, KJ?
I'm sitting here thinking. So, go to church. It could mean several different things. And the thing that just popped into my mind, maybe somehow it was heard wrong because church rhymes with search. And that officer the other day told them, if you want to find him, help us search. But also, go to church. There's a church at the cemetery there where where Mob Crew and Silvers were investigating that. And then there's a church that has a cornfield about an hour away from their home that I was looking into at first because I was reading about leakage and things like that, and them saying the community is amazing, and if we ever find a Sebastian, it'll be amazing, and the colossal popcorn, and I'm like, that all like ties into like a cornfield. So I looked for a cornfield, and there's a cornfield with a church. There's like a church that's completely surrounded by the cornfield. So I thought about that, but also it could mean like find God and God will help you find Sebastian. Or it could be something about that, I believe it was called Freedom Church, that supposedly, allegedly feels like autism is like a demonic possession that they could get it out of. So it could be some kind of a cult situation where they have put him to try to heal him. But I don't know. They don't seem like they're any kind of fanatics in a church way.
No, you say cult. It's in Macon County. One of the football players, retired football players, belongs to a cult up here in Macon County. I forget the name of it, but JLR covered it. And
Oh,
do
yeah,
you remember that? And
I do.
the father, there was maybe a custody battle, and the father may have sent the child to that cult. They're in Macon County, Tennessee, and they're in like Illinois or somewhere in that part of the state, country.
And I also associated this word amazing that they seem to like a lot with that statement about go to church. And I saw a bumper sticker that said the amazing church. And I started researching that online, and that seems like it's some kind of that kind of thing too, which I would like to look into more still.
You know, another eerie thing on Chris, in one of the videos, I think it was the green shirt video that we were watching. He says, maybe if it was Olivia, he says, he was asked, what will you do if Sebastian walked in the door or they found Sebastian? And he said he would have more friends than he ever had lining the streets cheering him when he's home. Like he never had any friends at all.
Right, which we know is not true.
True.
I mean, all the kids at school were missing him, and I mean, he was well known at school. It wasn't like, oh, nobody knew him, or people were, I mean, I think they wanted us to think that he didn't have any friends, but he absolutely did.
And they portrayed Sebastian as younger mentality than he really was.
Yeah. And his mental
we were looking for a young boy, and there's a more recent picture, from Christmas before or something like that. And he looks so much older, like you can tell it's a 15 or 14-year-old boy. He's growing up. And I think that also hindered the investigation. Not that Sumner County would have followed up on it by any means, but
yeah, I agree. I think they were trying to push everybody in opposite directions of what, and then also we were looking for a completely different kid for a while there. Even I thought, maybe he did wander off if he likes the water or he's hiding somewhere, because they were also saying that, Sebastian was found hiding under a car, but then we found out that wasn't the case, that the neighbor had mixed him up with someone else. And so,
I never heard that before.
Yeah, they were saying that in the very beginning. And also the news was also saying it in terms of like they caught themselves though first. But come to find out it wasn't Sebastian, it was someone else. So, all right, guys, we'll finish up this just a couple or just one more minute.
11:52 That evening, the defendant and Mr. Staff were in Abington, Massachusetts, where Joseph Staff buried Elijah in a shallow hole.
They used the cell phone data to find out where they stopped long enough to bury the body, to locate his body in the woods.
Phone records in this case showed the defendant telling Mr. Staff at 11:48 p.m. that it doesn't have to be big, referring to the hole he was trying to dig. And at 12:04 that morning saying it doesn't have to be far down, you know.
In other words, just get the job done and let's get out of here. I mean, just chilling.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say, I mean, so just a comparison, not that I believe that this is what happened by any means. And obviously they ran some sort of ping or geofencing in the area and showed both of their phones simultaneously. I just don't know why law enforcement, if they haven't, why they didn't do that in Sebastian's case as well.
I thought they had the card team there, and Chris
They did?
and Chris told Truth, what is it? Elevated Truth. Chris wanted to come on. He was so upset about what Elevated Truth was saying. And he said to Chris, "You don't want me to pull my man card out. You told me that
Right.
your truck or your phone, your Wi-Fi in your truck or your phone ping there that night, not the next day. What would be the point? Everyone knows you're coming home for that." It was the night. And he was so upset about it. And it's like, my drug is none of your business. You know how he gets belligerent. But yeah, his phone pinged there, or a truck or something.
I wonder if he's so nasty to get people to turn it off, because it really is high stress to listen to Chris Proudfoot.
Say that again.
Oh, absolutely. It's triggering. And, like people use the word triggering, and it is triggering to listen to him just ranting and raving and, going on and just, and then he's very weird because he'll pump the brakes and then he'll, act, well, I'm just brash and respectful. It's like, but you're not, though. I mean,
Right.
that's not that there's nothing about his statements that have been respectful, in my opinion.
Talking about trigger, why is he so triggered about talking about his mother, his stepfather, his sisters, his dad, their homes, if they own funeral homes, but more so with his mama? He gets really triggered when you talk about his mama and his stepdad. That really drives me insane. Like, why is he so triggered? Is it true that Kathy was at Worsham's when you bring his mama up?
Well, he sure did get mad at Seth when he asked if what's this rumor going around. Of course, he didn't ever answer it.
Yeah, we've not gotten a whole lot of straight answers about anything when when Chris is asked. Yeah.
Yeah, and I want to tell you something I feel about that too. Whenever he says law enforcement, at one time he said the sheriff's office. So I believed him about whatever that was that he was talking about. But that's because I had noticed so many times he says law enforcement. And I looked up what all professions are filed under law enforcement. And it could be any Joe Schmo walking down the street that gives him advice. Oh, I wouldn't talk about that, as long as he's a security guard or a fire department guy or a police, or there's a whole slew of things that qualify as law enforcement. And I think that Chris is all about semantics. And if there's anybody that could qualify as law enforcement that he wants to quote to not have to answer something that he's been asked, then he just piles it all in that same category.
I agree. I agree, and it's surprising that they've never asked for prayers for Sebastian at the church, especially because of, according to Chris and Katie, Sebastian had attended Freedom Church and he really liked to dance to the music and everything like that, and he enjoyed himself there. So just knowing that he had even been there once or twice, knowing that he's missing, I just can't believe that they didn't uh, honor him or do anything special, pray for his safe return, any of that.
Yeah.
It's completely out of control.
And people can't be sitting there not wondering what that's about in the church. Like, why aren't we praying for Sebastian? There's got to be a lot of good people in that church.
Oh, no doubt. I'm sure there's a lot of people that couldn't believe that Sebastian was never even mentioned. Especially because there were so many churches that were holding vigils and prayer, services, focusing in on Sebastian, praying for him, that, Sebastian never even attended those churches.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I find that to be really interesting. Well, ladies, do you have anything else to add? We've been on for so long. I'm so glad that you guys were up with me and talking about, just it's nice to have other perspectives and um, just I just also want to thank Alana too for, just being so diligent and so bold and asking those important tough questions, as Chris likes to call them, the hardball questions.
Yeah, absolutely. She's fast becoming my new hero. He's
Thank
got
you. I hope
gumption.
I didn't talk too much, but if anyone needs any information or wants to know more, I'm more
I
than
think you
willing
were
to give
great.
it.
Same here, and I loved having you up, KJ, too. I thought that you did such hard work there and everything. Um, and I'd love to have you guys back on the panel sometime too. So anytime you'd like to
Absolutely.
come up.
I have no
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
KJ, how long have you both been following it? Have you been following Sebastian's case since the beginning?
I would say the beginning, because my Amber Alert went off and I read about it, and then it was probably that week or week and a half later when they were searching the landfill that I actually went on YouTube and put his name in. And that's when I found all of this whole community. I never knew it existed before. So Sebastian is the first current case that I've ever followed. So I've been here ever since the landfill.
Wow. So
Yeah,
that
and
was
going back, what was at the landfill? They had to have probable cause to get a judge to okay it, to convince a judge that it was needed. What were they looking for? Cameras? I don't know.
I was thinking
Maybe
they were looking
spaghetti
for
pancakes.
electronics. Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I
That
was
was
thinking
my
too. Where
guess.
did those, because it's kind of unbelievable that a Brinks worker wouldn't have cameras in her home when she knows that she has a special needs child.
Right. I think that's a great point too.
Oh, and you know what
Yeah.
else
Thank you,
pissed off
Tuki.
What's that?
Chris was the Google it. Google it, guys.
Yes.
That campaign last fall, I think it was.
Yes. Well, I remember Katie saying Google it, y'all, and then they had I think I still have it back here. Yeah, where they had the billboards up. Google it, y'all. Sebastian
Mhm.
Rogers.
That was what I forgot to say, and then I'm all done. So, as a
It's okay,
gift to
Alana, go ahead.
Seth, I had a very realistic picture of Sebastian drawn, and there's also a second picture I posted the day before, the Monday before the Tuesday last week of Sebastian. That isn't the exact picture that I gave Seth, but I wanted to say people were saying people don't know Sebastian or they think that he's been found. The artist that I had do it does all his drawing in public, so at Panera, coffee shops, and they all would come up to him and say, "I know that boy. That boy is Sebastian, missing out of Sumner County." And when I had it in the backseat of my car when I picked it up, I had opened my door to put groceries in, and someone came over and said, "Oh, I know who that is. That's Sebastian, missing from Sumner County. His mother and father, stepdad or something are involved." And even when I brought it to the frame shop where I live, the woman was like, "Oh yeah, I remember that case. It's about the mother and stepdad have hid him," or something like that. So the
Wow.
picture went through many different counties, like 5, before I got home. Even with the artist, he was known. So yeah, some people think has been found, and some people don't know. But I can tell you, there were so many. The artist had come up to him while doing it, saying they knew who that was, and I had a lot coming up to me when I had picked it up and it was on my back seat. So I don't think Tennessee has forgotten about him by any means. I think the proportion that think he's been found or is low or don't know him at all, because he was well known in the backseat of my car with the picture. And I didn't share that picture with everybody because I believe Seth should have some privacy to something special for his son. But if you go on to VHB's group, there is a picture, but not of. I had 2 drawings done. There's another picture of Sebastian. It has a circle around it, and it's his face, a close-up drawing, which is almost realistic, that I shared that people can use. But yeah,
Aw.
I wanted to just say that, although I didn't share the picture I gave to Seth, that Sebastian was known throughout my travels.
Wow, that is really awesome. And and thank you so much for doing that. I mean,
Yeah, it was beautiful.
yeah, I will definitely share that.
Oh,
If
you
you
already got it?
No, I haven't. I
Yeah, so
haven't.
it should be there. I shared it like the Tuesday, whatever the Tuesday date was. I either shared it Sunday or Monday, but you find it there. It still pops up. And
Okay.
Seth can say what picture he wants, but I think that's the most realistic picture of Sebastian before he went missing.
Oh my goodness, that is so sweet of you. So that's on Facebook?
Yeah, here. I can't get out of it. Yeah, Bullhorn Betty, Sebastian Rogers, Bullhorn Betty. If you go to her group.
Okay, I know exactly where to go. Well, great. I will definitely go over there and share it.
Yeah.
I didn't know that Cakespoo had passed away. I know her from YouTube here. That is so sad, little Miss Sharon. Thank you for letting us know. My goodness.
I'm so sorry to hear about that. I don't know who she
My
is.
condolences. I don't know who it is, but
Yeah, she's one of our viewers. Well, here, and I used to see her a lot in Josh's chat. So, my goodness. Aw. Yeah,
anyway,
and I mean,
I'm getting tired. I gotta go. If you ever
yeah,
want
thank
me
you
back
guys so
on or
much.
you have questions, I'm a endless encyclopedia.
I know you are. Yeah, I could tell you've followed from the beginning. I have too. I actually was following Riley Strain's case and then and Pascal's, and that's how I got to know Sebastian's case. So, um, but yeah, and thank you so much. You guys make sure you sub up to KJ. Um, I will drop the link as well for her channel.
Thank you, Lady Freedom.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, anytime you guys want to come back up on panel, or if you want to do a dual stream, KJ, we'll definitely do that because I know it does help with, getting a wider audience and things like that. So,
That would be great. As many people as I can get my voice about Sebastian too, the better. And he's
yeah,
the only
absolutely.
case I'll be covering until he's found. So
All right.
Definitely. Well, thank you,
Steph,
ladies, so
stay
much.
strong.
Thank you so
Keep
much.
the hope.
thank you.
That's right.
Have a
Thank
wonderful
you
night.
so
Thank you,
much.
Lady
Good
Freedom.
night.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Alana.
Yep.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
chat.
Good night, guys. And
Good
thank you guys all so much for being here, listening to this panel. We've had so much information just packed into this 4-hour live, but I hope that you guys are able to, you know, let's get our brains working together and let's work together to try to find out what could have happened to Sebastian. So, and thank you, Jen. Thank you so much. Yes, we got to get some rest here. And I will see you guys tomorrow night. I'll be on another late show, probably around 11 or so. So you guys all have a wonderful rest of your night here, and I will see you guys tomorrow.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.